Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dire Roundtable. It's our first time doing this little experiment. We originally were going to have a session today, but a player couldn't make it, and we decided, given how we left off, that we couldn't rightfully have a session, especially since, well, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, so I won't say specifically. But yeah, we couldn't have a session without the full group, so we decided we didn't want to have 2 weeks of nothing. So instead, we're going to talk D&D. Maybe some other role-playing games after we talk D&D. But so for those of you who probably already know, and if you don't know, then welcome to the stream. Wizards of the Coast recently put out an Unearthed Arcana, a huge, 13-page document? Yeah. Which is basically like PHB2. It's a bunch of playtest materials that are variants to classes. And the three of us are seasoned dungeon masters, and they're probably more players than I am. Although, yeah, I mean, we know D&D, basically. So we're going to go through it. It's kind of impromptu. We don't have a script. We'll try not to spin our wheels and try to keep it moving. And if anyone viewing, I mean, we'll have to repeat this because I don't know who's tuning in yet, but I know some people will be joining in throughout the evening. But if anyone has any questions, and either Mixer or Twitch, I got the chats, hey, new guy, up, and we will answer any questions to the best of our ability. And if you have any questions about Dire Roll, and Frost, or previous campaigns, we can answer those too. So we'll just kind of do an impromptu Q&A. If we're in the middle of talking about something and the question isn't related to what we're talking about, we might, put a pin in it and get to it. But if anyone wants to shoot off any questions, go for it. The only thing I won't do is potential spoilers for Enfrost. So PR's like, first. Damn it.
You heard it first.
Well, I quit.
He will do anything, but he won't do that.
All right, so why is everyone on cam and not new guy? Is it because Jaken kicked me out? I offered if you wanted to join, and you said no. Fake news. All right. So, the way this UA works, I don't want to read this big wall of text because we're going to be reading a lot from this document, so I'll try to expedite as much as I can. Effectively, these are variants to class features. They are meant to be substituted. Some are straight up just enhancements to previous ones, which I'm going to talk about. And of course, it has this great paragraph in here that says it's up to the DM to decide which, if any of these, are allowed in his game. Now, I typically have a standing rule: no UA. That's kind of my thing.
Because Jaken hates fun.
Because I hate mystics.
Right, fun.
All right, so they've got a little something for every class, and I say a little something because wizards are at the end, and they get a little something. And by that we mean not anything. So the first thing is this proficiency versatility, which is a alternative to it's in addition to your ASI, your ability score improvement, which basically lets you replace skill proficiencies. And it doesn't have to be from the class, I assume, that's getting the 4th level. It can be from any class you hold.
The way I read it is it's just drop a proficiency, pick up a proficiency. You don't even need to have it as something that your class would get.
Well, it says with a skill proficiency offered by your class at 1st level. The proficiency the one you're replacing doesn't have to be from the class.
Right. It
so
can be
if you get 4th level fighter, then you can replace any skill with a fighter skill, is what I'm reading.
I mean,
it's right there.
Sure.
It says you can also replace one of your skill proficiencies with a skill proficiency offered by your class at 1st level.
Oh, the proficiency that you are replacing. Got it. Yeah, so it doesn't have to. So it could be a proficiency you got from your background. I mixed that up.
Yeah.
In my brain. Okay.
So, not a huge, I mean, honestly, skill proficiencies, if a player comes to me and is like, hey, I'm not using this skill, I'd rather use this skill, and it's within their class, I'd probably let them do it anyway. This just puts it in the rules. Don't have any problems with that.
Pretty straightforward.
I think it's silly, but I mean, it's straightforward.
Why is it silly?
Okay, couple things. One, I mean, the wording on it needs to be reworded as we
Already.
have,
We're tripping
have
over.
already effed it up.
Okay.
So that's one reason. Two, they say from your class, so they would, for people that might not understand what that means, is it your first class? Is it any class that you currently have? So, like I said, it's a little silly. Plus, who is getting to fourth level and being like, "Oh, I grabbed this skill and it's not needed so far, so I'm just gonna get rid of it."
I do think it's a little silly.
Well, okay. I'm gonna devil's advocate here.
Please, if you, I would love to for someone to change my mind on how this doesn't seem silly.
So, this works. Okay, actually, let me touch on your first point. Is it from your first class? If you're multi-classed, is it from any of those classes? No, it is from the class that you just gained your ASI from. Whenever you gain the ASI feature from your class, you can also replace one of your skill proficiencies with the skill proficiencies offered
From
by
that
your
class. Yeah.
So it doesn't say from that class. So it is a little gray when it comes to multi-classed characters, but like the way Wizards does their wording, the whole specific versus general, that because it's referring to your class twice in the same sentence, I would say it's the same class. Now, as for the who gets to fourth level and decides, I don't skill. One really heavy min-maxers.
Well, we really shouldn't be playing to them.
Well, but two very heavy role players. Like, it's on both ends of this spectrum. So the min-maxers are going to be like, well, I picked up Arcana, but the wizard has better Arcana than I do, so I need to get something that the party doesn't have, so we can have a better bonus there. Or on the role player side, it's simply a character development. Like, my background is Outlander, and survival is one of the, I think survival. We'll just say Outlander and survival.
It is.
And now let's say I'm hitting 8th level, and the entirety of my adventuring career has been confined to cities and dungeons. And now it's one of those, well, I'm kind of growing out of that Outlander background and more into this new role that I have. So let me, and it says the change represents one of your skills atrophying as you focus on a different skill. So with that wording, I say they're gearing it towards heavy role players, which with their it's not with their inclination to go towards what's popular right now, it makes sense.
So, okay, a couple things I want to touch on that. One, survival, and I know this is, you were just coming up with a general example, but survival can be used anywhere. It doesn't have to be just in the wilderness. So I know that's super nitpicky. I don't mean to be that guy, but I mean, survival could be used. Okay. So the fact that it's from your class, assuming it's the class that you
got the ASI in, yeah.
ASI in, it just seems weird that you would drop something that you learned through your background, which is what you were doing before you became an adventurer, before you became first level, and then are just like, well, I don't do that, but I haven't really been doing this other thing, so now I'm good at it. It's like, wait, what? I could understand if you had to be using it or something like that. I'm cool with that. I mean, it's definitely makes learning a new skill better, because the rules for learning a new skill are harsh.
Well, there's only one way I know how to do it. Is you either get a class feature, I guess there's 2 ways, or you take the feat that gives you 3 skill proficiencies.
Downtime days.
Yeah.
Oh, I
which is
didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, which is a feature of the game that you don't use.
Right.
So,
I mean, I could.
It takes like a year.
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that much
No,
downtime.
I 100% get where you're going with that, PR. And I agree that at my table, at the games I'm running, it's going to be hey, you got to give me some sort of reasoning behind why this new skill you're quote unquote suddenly proficient in. I'm assuming it's the way I would run it is it's not something you're suddenly proficient in. It's something that your character has clearly been doing and been working on, and now you've developed that proficiency. Or you've been training with another party member and you're picking up a proficiency that they have.
Yeah, I mean, even if they had like kind of the kind of touching on something from Call of Cthulhu, even if they had like a whenever you successfully use the skill, you could put the little mark or check off something, or then you could work towards it. I'd be okay with that. But I mean, obviously they don't want to make it too complex because with 5th edition they streamlined it a lot, which is a good thing because 3.5 was rules heavy. So I mean, I don't know. I just think that there are better ways that they could have had you gain a skill other than this.
Well,
but
if I could jump in on this, I think.
no.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Jake.
I don't see it coming up often, but when someone is like, oh wow, this is helpful, then it's there. But my problem is it's like a paragraph plus a sentence of text that if you're bringing in a new player and you want to use all this extra shit, like explaining an ASI is already its own deal, and then it's like, oh, and by the way, whenever you level up and it's like you get this, and new players hear the first thing like okay, and then they hear the and like, oh, this is too much. So I just think it's just a little. It's a lot of text for something that wasn't super necessary. And if you're using this and you're bringing in a new player, it's a burden in my opinion. As a veteran, I don't care. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. With new players, I can see this being a little on the crunchier side. But
well, not crunchy, just I guess crunchy would be the right term. Yeah.
But
just
I mean, this is playtest material, so
right.
I'm assuming that Wizards is gearing this towards, hey, playtest this because you know the game.
But I mean, for my own personal, I've always home ruled that like if it makes sense for a character to swap for skill proficiencies, or if the player wants to swap skill proficiencies because the campaign wasn't what he expected, I'm like, yeah, sure, do it. I don't care when you do it. So again, it feels like a home rule that it's probably Mike Merle's home rule that he put into the book.
Well, okay, so super brief to kind of address that from a little bit of my experience with 5th Ed. A lot of times when they're putting out stuff in the Unearthed Arcana and they're playtesting it to see if it's going to be official rules, they also have to see if this is something that can be allowed within Adventurers League rules.
Right.
And that's like the gray box at the beginning of every UA is this is not Adventurers League
right
legal, but it could be. So I mean, and because Adventurers League is very rules as written, I agree that if it makes sense for the character, please do it. But that's a home game because you are not allowed to do that in Adventurers League because it is not written into the rules. So this is kind of a way for them to write that common sense change into the rules, I think.
So it seems like I think it's suffice to say this exists for Adventures League, and that's about it. Because I don't see any other time where it'd be important.
Yeah, this one.
For new players, you kind of touched on it earlier when you said it's something new player, but it could be a little too heavy for them. I think it's more of a way for them to help out new players that maybe created a character thinking the game was going to run, like maybe just not knowing the system or how skill checks work. They're just like, oh, I'm going to have my fighter with Arcana or history or something, and like it doesn't fit the character. They're just like, oh yeah, that's going to be cool, and then they realize like, oh, this doesn't fit like my character at all. I never used this. Sure, let's switch it out. But I don't know, having it be tied to an ability score improvement.
Yeah, why not just make it whenever you gain a level?
Yeah.
I guess
Or
they're
even
worried
maybe
about people
just at
abusing
fourth
it.
level. Maybe just at fourth level, regardless of class. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Because like fighters get to do this more often. Why? Anyway, it's funky. We don't hate it, but we don't really see a need. I think that's our consensus.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It does bring up one thing that I want to talk about. Well, yeah, I mean, new guy says in chat, he said, regarding new players' argument, I'm not sure new players are playing with 4+ books. I mean, whenever I DM new players, I'm like, here's all the material you want, but then I help them narrow it down through my own experience. So I don't know. It depends on the DM. I don't. When I first heard about this, this UA, right? I was like, oh, variant features. I thought that was an interesting idea. But immediately out of the gate, this is an enhancement to a feature. And that kind of bothers me. PR, I think you agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it's an enhancement, it's like, if I don't play with this, are we missing out? And it's like, there doesn't cost anything to play with the enhancements.
Well, yes, but I mean, now you're getting nitpicky on words there. Like ability score improvement. Technically, taking a feat instead of an ASI is an optional rule.
True.
But most people are going to look at.
But it's either or. You either take the ASI or a feat.
Right.
With this, it's like you either take an ASI or a feat, and.
Well, and it's an option. If you're happy with your skill proficiencies, don't take it. It's just
no. I don't. Okay. This is a bad. Ignore the example of proficiency versatility. I'm talking about enhancing a feature in general.
Okay. Well, and this is going to touch more on some of the enhancements.
Like Rogue will get to you.
Oh, Rogue. Well, okay. So, and this is. I'm just going to call one out right away. Cantrip versatility. Thank God that's an enhancement.
All the ones that end in versatility are just making house rules available for Adventures League. That's what it feels like. Because again, if a player says, hey, I want to swap out my cantrips, I'm like, cool, bro, swap it for cantrips. I don't care.
Right. But it's one of those, you're not happy with your build, and you're in a situation where, like Adventures League, changing your character in that manner is not viable. It's not possible.
And I should point out that cantrip versatility says whenever you gain a level. So why isn't proficiency versatility just whenever you gain a level?
Well,
probably because they don't want people constantly swapping skills, but it's just confusing. All right, we spent like 15 minutes on proficiency versatility. Let's dive into the first class. Let's talk barbarian. All right, so the first one replaces danger sense. Just checking danger sense. Danger sense is the one that gives you advantage on dexterity saves against any effect you can see.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as you're not blinded, deafened, incapacitated, or stunned. So
in this optional playtest rule, I feel like we're going to say that a lot. You can substitute your advantage on dexterity saves against things you can see with survival instincts, which gives you proficiency in 2 skills from a list here, which is animal handling, medicine, nature, perception, or survival, and you basically get expertise in them.
You don't basically, you get expertise.
Yeah, you get expertise. They just don't use the word expert. I guess because technically, I guess expertise is the name of the feature. Everyone just calls it expertise.
It's another class.
So basically, this gives barbarians 2 new skills with expertise.
Yep.
Love it.
I don't know why they get expertise.
That's my also issue with it.
Why don't they just get 2 new skills? Because barbarians they get 2 skills for being a barbarian. So they're already very lackluster in their list of skills, which is always, whenever I play a barbarian, it always sucks. Because the game isn't all combat, and if you're a barbarian, you're like, God, I really hope my background comes into play or I'm effed. So I don't mind getting more skills for barbarian, but then it gives 2 new skills and expertise. doesn't seem very barbarian.
Okay, question. Without the expertise, is it worth giving up advantage on dexterity saves in the conditions of danger sense?
See, that's the whole problem with
Yes.
this UA. PR says yes.
It-
I honestly, I don't have a definitive yes/no on that. I'm not sure. Because what skill you roll is situational, and making dex saves is situational.
Right. And that comes down to a pure number crunch question.
More often than not, going from that, and that's where I'm kind of getting at. Whereas I don't like the min max or get to the crunching number parts of it, but going from a numbers part, you're more than likely going to roll one of those two skills at least at twice the rate that you're going to make dexterity saving throws.
Right, but the dexterity saving throws are going to prevent damage, where the skill typically is not going to be preventing damage. You are
Survival good, perception to not get trapped, nature to not touch.
Right.
Medicine to save a teammate.
Yeah.
But typically you don't make a skill roll to actively in this moment right now prevent.
New guy, persuasion isn't on the list. It's animal handling, medicine, nature, perception, survival. I don't know.
Disabling traps. I mean, you could go. That is a skill that you're making to prevent damage, not coming directly. Like,
well,
it's not
isn't disabling traps technically a thieves' tool check?
It is a thieves' tool check.
To detect them is perception.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'd like this list. I'd like this better if perception was an option. Giving barbarians expertise perception is like, oh boy.
That I'm not gonna argue. Perception is a little wonky here to give.
But giving a barbarian the other four, well, medicine is also a bit of a stretch. But I guess you want to verse it. Barbarians, you don't have to play the guy who punches things. So
right, you could be a tribal shaman.
Type guy.
Yeah, or you could play a guy that likes to go around fisticuffs and keeps getting challenged to sword duels when that is not his forte.
This could happen. It's gonna be a lot of that, everyone, because we got new guy doing passive aggressive jabs, and that's gonna be the night. I will point out that medicine is not in their baseline list,
which I'm okay with. Like, if you are out in because most barbarians have Outlander, so if you're out in the wilderness, you kind of need to know a little bit of medicine to prevent yourself, and if you're with a tribe or anyone else, from
it makes sense.
Yeah.
So this one, possibly, I think the Vegas says great. Me and Phisto say might be a little too much. I can't see a circumstance where I wouldn't take this over Dangerous Sense, unless the DM has established that every spellcaster is going to fireball me. Then Dangerous Sense 100%.
Right.
Or we're doing like a pure dungeon run, like actually going.
Yeah. Where skills aren't important. Well, especially since Dangerous Sense happens at level 2, so if you're already fighting fireballs, you're dead.
If it's already been well established that you're getting fireballed by every spellcaster at second level, might be time to rethink the campaign.
Well, you gotta remember, dexterity saves, that's for first levels, that's burning hands. That's 3d6 potentially reducing. I mean, there's a lot of saves at low levels that are dexterity based. So.
I think me and PR are looking at this as role players. Obviously, take the skills with expertise, right?
I just don't know why
it has expertise. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you, but like as it's written right now, if we put this into the game and I were playing a barb, I would take survival instincts because like give me that perception. I don't give a fuck.
Or give me that survival in nature, or survival in perception, or survival in animal handling. Like being able to calm down animals. Like I just think they're trying to get.
Well, maybe later on more classes will get expertise, and this is just the theme. This is the first class one we've looked at, so I'll reserve judgment. But still, expertise is kind of a staple of rogues and bards. To just hand it out seems a bit. I mean, there are some subclasses that give expertise to certain things,
right?
But those are special. So okay. So next one, instinctive pounce. This replaces fast movement, which fast movement just gives you, as long as you're not wearing heavy armor, which you're not. You get plus 10 feet of your base movement. Instead, Instinctive Pounce. When a creature ends its turn within 15 feet of you, you can use the reaction to move up to half your speed to a space closer to the creature. This movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. It's good, but I don't know if it's better than a fast movement. It's a cool idea, but I think I'd still rather just have the baseline 10 feet of movement. Also, this uses up my reaction.
Yeah, I think this is a choice between specific builds and specific situations versus a general.
Right.
I think personally, I would probably stick with the general, and unless I'm explicitly, actually, no, I can think of a character that I've played where I would have taken this instead of fast move. But it was a specific build, so
I think
I would have taken this with Fenrir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I could see Fenrir doing that.
So I think our consensus is we like this one.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with that. I think it's a good option. You can either have the 10 feet, which, as you said, was a general thing, or you can, although it does cost you reaction, which a lot of
but it doesn't provoke your opportunity attacks. So you can whip around the battlefield once a turn, just, diving past enemies, and it has a lot of potential in it,
Yeah.
It does cost you reaction, but barbarians aren't, aside from opportunity attacks, barbarians aren't really using their reaction to begin with. So,
yeah.
Nope.
However, you can't chain it into a readied action, which I reckon is on purpose.
Right.
Yeah, because ready action, for those who don't know, requires your reaction. All right, this next page is just a list of what is an enhancement, what is a replacement. We're going to go through it, so if you want to download the document, very handy, but especially if you're the Dungeon Master. But we're just moving on to Bard. So I'm going to turn my PHB to Bard. All right, so every spellcaster got an expanded spell list.
Yeah.
Who was I talking?
Did.
Was I talking to New Guy? Was I talking to you? Yeah, I think you and I were talking about this before our Thursday night game. Yeah. Me and New Guy were talking about the expanded spell lists in our before our Thursday night game, and we were saying it's interesting that some of these like cornerstone spells got added to other classes. Yeah, he's talking. He doesn't like all the overlap, and that's kind of what I'm touching on. Like, for example, Bard get access to which one was it that I called out specifically? Mass Healing Word.
Oh.
They didn't have Mass Healing Word before. Now they do.
I get where that's a but a lot of people do play healing bards.
Right. In fact, I was surprised several times in this document when I saw a spell on the expanded list. I'm like, they don't have that? And this is one of them. I thought that bards would be the healing word guys.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, what it does is it has a lot of overlap with other classes, especially when we get to like cleric and druid. They overlap hard. This one not so much. This overlaps a lot with wizard, which is probably okay. They do a lot of mental spells they added, like Mind Spike, Mental Prison, Telepathic Bond,
which seems super appropriate for bard,
especially with the Whisper. Although I wonder, does Whisper add those spells already? I don't have my Xanathars.
I don't believe it does.
Oh, okay.
I don't have it open to look, but having played Rayleth, I don't recall it adding any of the spells like that.
I'm pretty certain it doesn't. And I have to say, for the expanded list, I'm okay with bards having overlap, because from like the get-go, they've always been the jack of all trades. They were, you don't have a rogue, cool, you have a bard, they can fill in. You don't have a wizard, cool, they can fill in. You don't have a healer, cool, they can fill in.
Yeah.
So the fact that they have overlap, I'm okay with that, because that makes sense. They're going around looking for lore, especially if you're a college of lore.
Right.
Like, it makes tons of sense for you to have overlapping. So
well, college of lore, you get extra spells already that you can take from anywhere. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think for bards it makes sense to overlap them a little bit, because, like you said, the bard in the 12 classes, the bard is the catch-all. Except I probably can't tank, but
yeah, that's
a hit points thing.
Yeah.
Although you could go like swords or the fencing one. I already forgot what it's called. Is that one called? Is that swords?
Yeah, that's swords.
Valor.
Oh yeah, Valor and swords. You can probably make a pretty decent dex fighter. And
Yeah,
have a really good
the
AC.
Valor you just use cutting words whenever they're attacking you.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, just do a high dex and make sure you don't get hit. Then you can tank.
Yeah.
Tank. Yeah. When I think tank in D&D 5e, I think just hit point sponge. You know, because anybody can have good AC, but if you don't have a lot of hit points, then once your AC fails, you're done. But that's
again that starts to come down to arguing crunchy.
Right. And that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about bard spells. I think we're all okay with the expanded list.
Yeah,
I think the expanded spell list would be the thing I'd easily allow. You know, it's like, yeah, sure. Especially Bard Mass Healing Word. How do they not have that already?
Yeah. I happen to personally love this expanded list for bards.
For bards, yeah. I do want to talk later on because Paladin just started giving away all their spells in this document.
Yeah.
So I want to get to that. Okay, so this is an enhancement, and we already talked about our gripe with enhancements. The expanded spell list is probably the least offensive enhancement because more spells.
Yeah.
But this is the magical inspiration feels like a patch. You know, like in a video game, like a live service, like, ooh, we should patch this. So basically what it does is it lets spellcasters increase their damage or healing with the bardic inspiration. Which is a little powerful because in order for non-casters to use damage, you have to be a certain subclass.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was going to say here. It's like a needed patch, but it should have been patched into a subclass or two of Bard
instead of being just attached.
Right, all bards can do this. This one absolutely feels like it's good, and I think it's a great enhancement. But I think it should be an enhancement to specific subclasses.
I don't get not so much narrative, but like, so the bardic inspiration and of all the uses of it up until now, I can rationalize. If you're making someone get better at hitting, your words have inspired them to do better. If you're using it to cutting words, then your words are throwing them off, jarring, whatever. I'm just trying to figure out how your words are so awesome that they are making the magic that the people are then summoning more potent. What? What? I'm making you channel better? Like,
well, I think it's because, and this has to probably just do with my own personal class fantasy of the bard. Is it's not just the words that the bard is saying or singing or whatever the case may be. There is literal inherent magic behind the words that come out of a bard's mouth in certain situations. Their words are magical.
I see it from a purely mechanical standpoint, in that if you have the choice between bardic inspiration, your wizard, or your fighter, chances are your fighter is going to be able to use it, and your wizard isn't. Because wizards, they have a lot of saving throws, they have a lot of utility, they have a lot of defensive that won't benefit from magic missile, from bardic inspiration. But your fighter is probably going to slap a bitch. And so, from a mechanical standpoint, this just means like, hey, now your wizard can get bardic inspiration every now and then.
We actually, you just slightly Freudian slipped something that makes me question the viability of this.
Oh, really? I don't know if I Freudian. I didn't make it.
No. You almost said magic missile.
Oh.
By this, you can add. Now, granted, it's only going to add to one missile.
But yeah, the magic missile will become insane.
Yeah.
Especially as the as your die increases to eventually to a D12.
Yeah, an unblockable, unmitigatable. I mean, other than shield and a brute of shielding, but essentially an unmitigatable.
I'm streaming right now, bud. Can you ask your mom? Can you go to
you
mom?
are multiplying that damage, and
go to mom.
It's of a damage type that is typically not resisted.
Sure. I yeah, I think
That's a niche-
this
a
one
niche
needs work.
situation.
I like the intent, but it's a little too powerful. I think it needs to be workshopped.
I just my gripe is they make the mixing of magics not that great of a thing. Whether it's the mixing magical potions chart that you can go through, whether it's the fact that if you mix certain like your spellcasters, they don't draw from the same pool. So they've always had this setup in their rules where magic of different types is separate. They shouldn't ever mix. And yet now they're just like, oh, but the bards, because of their magic, it can make you mix well. I'm just like, what the fuck? That doesn't. What? You're going against everything you've done. So, but whatever.
I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah. To touch briefly on New Guy's question in chat, imagine dire roll. We're going up against, let's just say, hypothetically, a dragon that kills someone in one breath weapon. And Akulu, like, this dragon is almost dead. And Akulu is like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and throw. I've got a 4th level slot left. I'm going to throw a magic missile at it because it can't block it. It's going to do damage. She rolls the first 4, does great, does middling damage. And then Jaken says, and it's still alive, but it's looking real, real bad. And she goes, oh, I forgot. I have this bardic inspiration die. Let me throw it on this last one. And that is what is needed to kill it. It can make magic missile more powerful than it normally is, which is kind of the point of inspiration. Yes, it's just the whole auto hit, not going to be resisted damage thing.
Yeah.
Well, it also boils down to, in order to get damage rolls normally, you have to take College of Valor. I think also College of Swords.
Yeah, but it's only weapon attacks.
Right. So why not, instead of changing Bardic Inspiration, change Combat Inspiration to add this? But then would it make it more? It would make it more powerful than Cutting Words, and then you would have a balance issue.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't see it being appropriate to add to Combat Inspiration. I would say add Magical Inspiration to, for example, a Lore Bard or a Glamour Bard.
Yeah, this seems like you were saying earlier, and I think I'm coming around to your way of thinking. Did we PR? What happened? You look like. Can you hear us?
All my monitors turned off.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, we're good. They're back up. I just they just all turned off, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Hope your graphics card isn't dying. All right. Yeah. I think this would serve well in another 3rd level words type thing. The only problem is it's too focused for that. I mean, it basically is a combat inspiration for magic, right? I guess that it still tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, my beef with it is literally just it doesn't go with anything else that they have presented in any of their other rules about how magic interacts with each other.
Right.
So it just, for me, once again, it's just weird. It's that, like, in my head, I can't figure out how you would narratively describe that or, like, how it would work. But
is standard Bardic Inspiration just whenever?
Whenever you make an attack or a skill check.
Okay, so it doesn't specify a weapon attack
or save a throw.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think Magical Inspiration needs to be in a subclass. I agree with Vegas. All right, spell versatility. Every spellcaster got spell versatility. So let's read it now. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can. Okay, actually, I should say every spellcaster except for like divine casters.
Well, no, wizard and divine casters, and some of them have a variant of it. It's not all written the same.
So it's not all written the same. So we'll cover it each time. This is the first time it showed up. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace one spell you learn from this spellcasting feature, which is what it's attached to, with another spell from the Bard's spell list. The new spell must be the same level as the spell you replaced. I hate this.
I love this.
I hate this because why not just make everyone a divine caster?
Because a divine caster can change out literally their entire list. This is, and again, this is going to touch on some of the spell versatility later. Not all of it is a long rest. Some of it is when they gain a level.
For this one right now, whenever you finish a long rest, swap out a spell that you didn't know for a spell you know.
Right. For Bard, this is perfect.
Yeah, I gotta agree. This is the one occasion that I'm okay with it too.
Because of Bard being the jack of all trades class.
Jack of all trades. The fact that they're also like they're one of the few classes that they're like, oh, you picked your spells, cool. I hope you like your choices because you're stuck with them forever.
Yeah.
Well, why couldn't they already have when you level up you can swap out spells, right? Is that caked in the Bard?
A spell.
Yeah.
One spell. Which every time I play a Bard, I always swap out a spell when I gain a level because there's something that isn't working and I haven't used for that entire level.
And Bards don't have to prepare. They're one of the classes that all the spells you can cast.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
You just use your spell slots.
And you also don't get that many. So if you choose a spell off the hop that even if you only get one or two uses out of it, it's still just like, oh, great. And now as I gain level and gain access to like higher spell levels and spell slots, you're just like, I want to have 2 third level spells at 5th level, but nope, can't have that. So,
well, no, no.
I think I'll concede the ground on this. I think I'm coming around to Yell's way of thinking.
Yeah,
for Bard.
And PR on leveling, it does not have the caveat of the new spell must be the same level as the spell you replace.
Yeah, it just says this one. It has to be. You have to swap a third for a third, second for a second, etc.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one for leveling, I'm okay with losing one of my second levels to have another third level. But
I'm 100% on board with that.
For the long rest, I'm glad they put that caveat in there because otherwise, bogus.
All right, so that's Bard. They got Magical Inspiration, which we think we can all agree is a bit too powerful to just bootstrap onto Bardic Inspiration. And Spell Versatility, which I think we're all on board with. You guys convinced me. So let's move on to Cleric. So all in all, Bard didn't get much. 2 out of 3 we're good with. So I think good changes for Bard so far. Workshop, Magic Inspiration. All right, so Clerics get Cantrip Versatility. I think every spellcaster that has... No, actually, Bards didn't get this.
Well, but look at the rule tip below spell versatility.
Whenever it talks about spells, it applies to cantrips. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So Cantrip Versatility, whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one cantrip you learn from this spellcasting feature with another cantrip. Again, this is, I think, for Adventures League and for rule sticklers, because for me, you don't like that cantrip and you really don't want to use it anymore and you'd rather use another one? Cool, do it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little bit too lenient, or maybe I'm just the right amount of lenient. I don't know.
For clerics, this is kind of pointless because there's not a lot of cleric cantrips.
Actually, yeah.
Two,
sorry,
there's not a lot of cleric cantrips that get used a whole bunch.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is like the cleric cantrip list kind of sucks.
Yeah.
When Xanathars came out, they added some interesting additions, but not many, like 2. I think, but both of them are interesting. But basically, you're a cleric, you're going to be using Spare the Dying, you're going to be using 1 or 2 offensive cantrips. They only had 1 until Xanathars, which was Sacred Flame. And then they added Toll the Dead. And then a roleplay one. Right? You're just going to grab, like, Thaumaturgy.
Light or Mending.
Yeah, or Thaumaturgy for
Thaumaturgy. Guidance.
Guidance is one that I see abused to hell. Oh, you're about to make a skill check? Let me slip in those DMs and give you a guidance. It's the non-combat abuse cantrip.
I'm kind of with both of you guys on this. Is kind of pointless, but I understand why they added it. And since they did, I'm glad this one is tied to level, not long rest.
Yeah, it does make sense that this one is tied to level. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Cleric spells. These are new spells enhanced, and right out of the gate. I'm only on page 3, so you can only see the first 4 spells, right? 3 of them are like, thanks, Paladin.
Yeah.
Which ones?
Wrathful Smite, Branding Smite. You sold me, man. You were too convincing.
Okay, here's my problem with this. paladin spells and ranger spells, their power
Paladin spells and ranger spells.
Well, yeah, want that. But the way they are balanced, their levels do not 1-for-1 line up with the other full caster classes. A third level paladin spell is typically it's balanced a little bit beefier than a third level, for example, cleric spell.
And Aura Vitality is one of the most powerful paladin spells on their roster.
Right.
My problem with this is clerics, if you take a certain subclass that gives you an extra attack, clerics are pretty meaty fighters, right? And they have a sick arsenal of spells without any addition. And paladins are really good in fighters, which have a very specific set of spells for very specific things that they rock at, or they just help at, you know? Your smites, your Aura Vitality. And if you hand those off to cleric, man, I think I might just play a cleric.
Agreed.
I mean, you don't get Divine Smites. But if you're only doing Divine Smites, you're not casting Aura Vitality and your smite spells anyway. So I'm not a fan of giving... Honestly, it's just Aura Vitality. Giving that to cleric, it's like... You know, paladins having the ability to just like, I'm going to heal the whole fucking party now. Whenever I played a paladin, and I played a pretty high-level paladin for one campaign I played. Whenever I cast Aura Vitality, it was narratively like the paladin's like, everyone, let's just finish this, you know, for justice, and like, it's just totally rad. And clerics already have basically every other heal spell in the game. Why take the one thing I had from me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. And then we have more auras, which are pulled from paladins for 4th level. Aura of Life, Aura of Purity. Wall of Light, which that one, yeah, they should probably have Wall of Light. And then 9th level Power Word Heal. Clerics don't get Power Word Heal?
No, that's a bard thing.
That's a bard thing. Okay, so they gave bards Mass Healing Word in exchange for Power Word Heal. It was a trade.
Right. And I kind of am okay with that trade.
I think that's the only one I'm okay with. And Wall of Light and Skill Empowerment, those are fine. It's just taking the paladin spells that irks me. As a person who likes playing paladins, granted paladins are one of the most powerful classes in the game, so we can all agree. Probably them and druids are tied in the #1 spot for the most badass.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so next, this Channel Divinity. This Channel Divinity, I believe, has the same wording repeated in Paladin, but we'll double check just to be sure. So this is a new variant option for Channel Divinity. It's a bonus action Channel Divinity where you regain an expended 1st level spell slot. It's not a replacement, it is an option. I don't know why you would burn a Channel Divinity for a 1st level spell slot, except at levels 1 and 2. That's the only time I could see myself using this.
If your Channel Divinity is super niche or like one that you're not a fan
You're not
of,
using? Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. But clerics get turned undead, although, of course, if you're not fighting undead.
Right. It's just it's an extra option to get you a little bit back in the game. If you're running down to the end of your day, you're not going to need your Channel Divinity, but you could use that extra healing word.
Right. I don't hate it. It's an option. It's not very powerful. It's arguably quite weak. But
it's good for healing.
But it's good for people who aren't really using their Channel Divinity. Yeah.
And you regain your Channel Divinities on a short rest. So
yeah.
Oh, it's paladins that get it back on long rest, right?
No,
you get short too. No, I'm mistaken.
So, like at 6th level, you could regain 2 1st level
spells every rest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Maybe it's not as weak as I thought, but it is very specifically only 1st level spell slots, which is very good for a healer.
Yeah.
Especially since the healing Channel Divinities are kind of They're basically a 1st level spell anyway. Alright, and next is Blessed Strikes. So this is a domain feature replacement. which means a subclass feature replacement. So it replaces. Let me look up the one it replaces. It's replacing Divine Strike or Potent Spellcasting. And Divine Strike is the one that lets you, every time you do a melee weapon attack at 8th level, you do 1d8 radiant damage. Then at 14th, it goes up to 2d8. And then for Potent Spellcast...
That's adding your Wisdom modifier to...
damage.
No, sorry. That one is if they fail their... or make the saving throw, they still take half damage.
No. You were right. It adds Potent Spellcasting, adds Wisdom modifier to damage dealt with cleric cantrips. You were right.
Okay.
And I believe... Yes. Hold on, let me double check. Potent Spellcasting, Divine Strike. Every domain gets one of those two.
Yes, one or the other. Okay, so Blessed Strikes. In battle, you are blessed with Divine Might. When a creature takes damage from one of your spells or weapon attacks, so it's any spell now, you can also deal 1d8 radiant damage to that creature. Once you deal this damage, you cannot use this feature again until the start of your next turn. Is Divine Strike once per turn?
Double checking.
Once, yes, it is. The Divine Strike is once.
Yeah.
So this is a buff and a nerf wrapped up in a taco.
Yeah.
If you really like Divine Strike and you get to 14th level and you took Blessed Strike, you effed yourself out of 1d8 damage. But since it applies to all spells now, it's much more versatile.
Yeah. Well, and it's radiant damage as opposed to extra weapon damage, which could help bypass some resistances.
No, Divine Strike is. Oh, I thought it was radiant damage. You're right, though. It's weapon damage.
Yeah.
Actually, no. It depends on the subclass.
Does it?
Tempest adds thunder damage. War adds weapon damage.
Yeah.
Nature adds your choice of cold, fire, or lightning damage.
Okay.
My biggest problem with this, and Pierre, don't let me forget you, is that it kind of becomes a class feature. It just makes level 8 a class feature now, instead of a subclass feature.
Well, if you take the replacement,
true, it is a replace. It's not a. Yeah, it's an optional. What were you going to say, Pierre?
The other thing that is interesting about Blessed Strike or Blessed Strikes is it just says that you can add that damage to one of your spells. They don't have to deal damage. So you're like, oh, I'm going to hold him spell?
No, it does specifically say when a creature takes damage.
Yeah.
Oh, takes damage. Spells. Okay, yeah, I got to read it.
No, you made me reread it. I was like, wait, what the fuck? That makes it insane.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, oh, you're held and you're taking some radiant damage. Ayo.
Hey, it cost me nothing. Yeah, that would have been cool. But
hey, I just healing worded you. Take some radiant damage also.
I think I'm okay with it as an option.
Yeah.
I'd probably take it. I mean, but the one thing I will say is it's hella better than potent spellcasting.
Yes and no. I mean, potent spellcaster, it's with just your cantrips, so you're going to be casting your cantrips more. So you're getting that commutative damage potentially more of the frequent.
But bear with me, you're a cleric. And your cantrips suck.
They do. That they certainly do.
Yeah, okay. All
right, so all in all, I think aside from just mugging paladins for every good spell on their list, cleric pretty good.
Yeah, I'm good with these changes or these enhancements, whatever.
All right, so on to druid. Turn page. Druid has again cantrip versatility, and I believe it's exactly the same as the cleric version. Once every level up, you can swap out a cantrip.
This is a little bit more potent for druid because they have a better selection of cantrips, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, quite far and large in the fact that they're adding more cantrips, which we'll get to.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I think for a druid, this is more powerful for certain. For cleric, it's just again, clerics have crap cantrips. Druids have a lot of good cantrips, especially when Xanathars came out. I think we saw that at the at the last segment of Fire and Blade when we had this Dro something.
Drozan.
Drosan.
Yeah, it was Drozen Shinra.
Yeah. His cantrips were, to quote a certain YouTube comedian, they're tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would just walk in and snap the guy's neck and save the day.
Yep.
All right. So now we're on to the Druid spell list. They get new cantrips, as we just alluded to. Acid Splash.
Is the only one.
Yeah.
But when you compare that with all the ones that they got from Xanathars to begin with, I mean, man, you got so many options of cantrips now to change out. Sure, it is once a level.
But, and many of them deal acid damage. Druids, what's the deal with your acid damage?
Yeah.
I don't mind them getting Acid Splash because they already have acid-related cantrips.
Yeah.
It just puts you at range. Although Acid Splash is not very long range, right? It's like
15. 30, I think.
I thought it was 15, but you can hit 2 targets.
No, that's Poison Spray.
Your poison spray is 10 feet, 1 target, but it's a D12.
I don't want to dig through cantrips. I'll take you at your word.
But Acid Splash is 2 targets, and it's
Acid Splash is 2 targets. Okay.
Lovely.
Okay. So here we go for their levels. Giving them protection from good and evil tracks because druids are kind of clerics. So
yeah,
it works. And look at that 3rd level, Aura of Vitality. My boy paladins are.
They also
get hard. They also get Revivify, I think is what you're about to say.
Which is I get it, but the way Revivify is written, like the description of it and the material components for it and everything, that's very clearly a cleric spell to me.
I think this is a mechanical edition. It's do you have a druid healer?
Okay,
have revive.
You can come back to life at 5th level, I guess.
Yeah, this is for people who are playing Circle of Shepherd. I think that's what it is. It comes down to this is a mechanical change, not a narrative change.
Yeah.
And then a lot of these spells are elemental, which makes sense. Druids have always been elemental, so grabbing elemental spells and just throwing them on their side works for me. Flesh to Stone is a bit narratively ambiguous, but I could see it working. Yeah. And then they also get Power Word Heal. Power Word Heal, giving them Power Word Heal is, again, Circle of Shepherd. It's a mechanical thing.
Yeah. Thematically appropriate.
I don't know thematically, but it's definitely mechanically appropriate. Making druids a standard, like they're taking all the healer classes and standardizing them.
Yeah.
And then robbing Paladin of Aura Vitality.
Yeah. What really stands out that to me as why do they have this? Other than Revivify, because how many druids are going to be walking around with 300 gold piece diamond?
Yeah.
Like, yep, there you go.
Have my diamonds.
Yeah, is Symbol.
Yeah.
That is a really odd one.
Yeah, you're right. They get Symbol. I guess you could retexturize it as like a glyph, like carved. But yeah, you're right. Symbol's a weird one for them to get. Do they get glyph of warding?
Nope.
Seems like
which once again, the cast Symbol, one of the components is powdered diamond and an opal with a total value of 1,000 gold, which the spell consumes.
Yeah. It does seem like an odd choice for Druid to be snorting diamonds. That seems like a wizard thing.
I get snorting the diamonds. I just one of those things that why would they have? I mean, I guess they could, as you said, they can maybe have it as a rune, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I would want to see some variant druidic flavor on the spell.
You can do that as a DM. This is just raw mechanics, especially if you're just pulling spells over.
I could see if it was like if they came up with a subclass that was like a city druid or even like a hedge druid. 100% could see symbol on that, because then you could tie it
Yeah.
into the city kind of life, or even like the fact that they are a hedge, so they're kind of used to having all these crazy glyphs and whatnot around them.
You hear that, wizards? We want a city druid.
Or ranger. I'll also take that.
Oh God, who I want? I have wanted a city ranger.
A bounty hunter. Bounty hunter subclass for ranger. Make it happen, wizards. God, that'd be tight.
Do you remember the city druid from Third Ed, Will?
Yeah.
Man, that was so tasty. They could talk
and the city, the urban ranger.
Yeah, urban ranger. Yeah, no.
Oh God, they were so good.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, this is an okay spell list. Except once again, robbing paladins blind. Okay, this is a lot of text, and every time I go through this, I just breeze past this because I'm like, oof, I don't want to read this. Wild Companion allows you to, instead of having a pet, lets you have a summonable spirit pet that has one of two. Oh, what am I thinking of? Nope. I'm thinking. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I was thinking ranger.
Mm-hmm.
No, the druid one is actually super tight. Let's actually read it. All right, so Wild Companion, this is an enhancement to Wild Shape. So all druids have access to this per GM fiat. You gain the ability to summon a spirit that assumes an animal form. As an action, you can expend a use of your Wild Shape to cast Find Familiar without material components. When you cast the spell this way, the familiar is a fae instead of a beast, and the familiar disappears after a number of hours equal to half your druid level. I think this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because they're
hot trash.
Really?
Yep.
Is it because Find Familiar is pretty weak?
Exactly, because Find Familiar is weak.
They should have made it a different spell.
I would be okay if it was the Find Familiar spell if it didn't last a number of hours equal to half your druid level. I get that is the time limit for your Wild Shape, but you're essentially getting rid of your Wild Shape, which you could use to do pretty much anything that you would send your familiar to do, as in like go out and scout, go undetected or whatnot. You could do in that Wild Shape, but now you're just like, I have a familiar that can only kind of do some things, and then it's only here for maybe 2-3 hours.
I think what I like about it is the Denabo thinks the host. I don't know if you're here. It says auto hosted you, but I appreciate it. I like the narrative attempt. Because I have often wanted to play a druid who wasn't a Wild Shape druid. A shaman-esque type druid. Granted, if you just take you don't have to take Circle the Moon. There's a lot of options for non-Wild Shape druids subclasses. But this land and shepherd and pretty much every single one except for Moon is prioritizes your spellcasting over your Wild Shape. But then if you took one of those, your Wild Shape is just sitting there being extremely powerful, but you don't want to use it because it doesn't fit your character.
I like this as and PR. I get where it comes. Like mechanically, garbage. It's just this is a good role play flavor option. Like Jaken is saying, I like it for that. The two druids I have played in 5th Ed would absolutely not use it because I'm playing a druid. I'm 100% turning into a bear.
Yeah, I think that's why I've never played a druid, because I don't really dig Wild Shape. When I played a druid in WoW, I was a resto druid, and they took away my tree at every other expansion.
Dancing tree. How I miss you.
So I never really, I don't really, but people who want to Wild Shape usually go Moon anyway. So
yeah.
So
I'm reading the familiar spell, and it's pretty weak.
Yeah,
comparatively.
Yeah,
it's just a little animal.
Yep.
My recommendation there, if we want to make Find Familiar mechanically and crunchy, okay, you use it to summon an owl who swoops in, uses the help action, and swoops out and doesn't get an attack of opportunity.
I'm not homebrewing UA.
No. That's not homebrew.
Oh.
That's just the owl's flyby. Owls have
flyby.
Oh, owls do have you can do owls, but you said they can't attack?
Right, yeah. Find Familiar can't attack, but it can swoop in, distract the crap out of an enemy, and then fly away.
My thing would be, if you like taking the spirit, I'd like to say, because we're talking about druids, spirit of visibility. If it was you got the you sacrificed your wild shape to cast that to summon a wild companion. If it didn't function as the find familiar spell, I'd be okay with that. Let's say you just summoned a wolf or little beaver or whatever it is you want, I'd be okay with that. The other thing I'd be okay with is if it stayed for the day as long as you didn't regain that wild shape. So like, you could have it for the day, and even if you took short rest, you'd just be like, no, I'm not going to regain this wild shape that I'm using to keep this thing here. But I mean, as a find familiar, which I've found wizards with 5th edition, that's what they do. You just look at the monk for the elemental. They're just like, oh, we could do something cool and give it its own unique abilities. No, let's just give it spells. Why?
That does track, yeah. Especially with monks, which just like have some spells.
Like you said earlier, because they were streamlining.
Yeah. I think they streamlined a little hard in places.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of Wild Companion. That's probably the one thing of the Druid that I'm not super on board with. I mean, of the 2 things they have, not including Spell List, because
right. Well, spell lists are important because they stole Aura Vitality.
Yes, I get that. What they did to the Paladins in this UA is dirty.
Criminal.
It's dirty. That's exactly right. I don't think this, like, mechanically this isn't a very punished. This doesn't stack druids any higher than they already were. Nope. I just don't see it being useful.
Yeah, I don't see anyone using it.
Don't they already have like Beast Friend?
No.
Oh, that's a druid.
Yeah,
that's a random thing.
Yeah, you can get a spell that allow you to talk to beasts, multiple of them, but
that was my big gripe with druids in 5th edition. It's like, where is my animal companion that I have had for 4 previous editions?
Now, if you want to play Snow White, you got to be a ranger. Yeah. I agree. I think instead of Wild Companion, they should have approached that missing aspect of druid. I think they just wanted to keep it on the ranger side, but
or maybe even just taken like, okay, if you want a wild companion, make it something that can attack with, but you sacrifice all your wild shapes. You can
maybe instead of wild companion enhancing wild shape, they could have had
replaced
wild companion replace wild shape, and it's
like a totem spirit that's constantly around that you can use in combat, like a beast from Ranger.
Yeah,
I think that's a subclass in the making right there.
Or how with the druid they did the fire one. What was that called? It's one of the other UAs that they came out with.
I think
I
know what you're talking about.
A fire spirit.
Yeah,
they could have run something similar to that, but more natural, and I would have been on board with that. But giving them a find familiar spell that lasts maybe 2 hours, especially the second level, so 1 hour when you get it. Like,
well, the find familiar spell, if I just looked it up, I think it only lasts for an hour. Could be wrong about that.
I thought
maybe I was looking at the casting time.
I thought it was permanent.
I was just skimming it
until it dies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that does seem okay. Wild Companion, underwhelming, pretty weak, kind of unnecessary because it's so pathetic. Yeah, druids didn't get much. All right, fighter. This is a lot. Well, it's 1 page, but there's a lot to talk about in fighter. All right, so fighting style options. This enhances file styles. They added more fighting styles to the general list. There's 4 of them, I think, and they are all good. We'll get to those. And then fighters get a specific fighting style addition called Superior Technique, which basically means you get an extra superiority die, or you get a superiority die, and you get a maneuver. Right?
Yep. Even though the superiority die is a D6 with the superiority technique, as opposed to a D8, which
isn't it basically like the feat? Because there's a feat that gives feat.
Even that's still a D8.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you get 2 techniques that you could choose from, but it's only
is this one only 1 technique? You learn 1. So superior technique. If you're not playing with feats, but you're playing with this, I guess it's pretty good. But given
Yeah.
how many feats fighters get, if they really want more maneuvers, they can take the feat that gives you maneuvers, and it's better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's an option. Seems pretty weak.
Yeah.
Just to see the trade up, like this is a fighting style, so like to trade this instead of +1 to your
Archery,
armor,
yeah.
+2 to your damage, +2
Yeah.
to your attack. Like it just seems
I-
it's a one and done.
How many fighting styles does a fighter get overall?
One, unless they're a champion, then they get a second one.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah, garbage.
Oh, evening, Danabu. Good. Haven't seen you in a while, but thanks. You've been hosting me for like weeks now, and I appreciate it. I've been saying
Hey,
thank
Danabu.
you. I don't know if you've been, I know you've been auto hosting me, but I thank you every time, and I will keep thanking you. I appreciate it. So yeah, pretty lackluster, especially if you're playing with feats. I don't know anyone who isn't playing with feats, to be honest. Really, you don't play with feats?
Some games I don't. I find when you introduce feats into the game, people tend to pick the same 5 feats, and then they also all pick humans. So I'm just really sick of variant human games. with
Gotcha.
The same 5 feats. So
I can
Human.
understand that. Variant human, grab that feat. Yep. I respect that. Okay. Next one, maneuver versatility. This enhances maneuvers, which is the Battle Master business. For some reason, it's listed as a level 1 feature, but maneuvers are a level 3 thing.
Oh, huh.
I don't know if that's a
Interesting.
typo.
that's probably a typo.
Right. If
Hold
you
on, that's
Wait. Not necessarily.
you get your fighting style at first level,
Oh.
which then if you take superior technique, you can then change it out with this.
There you go.
Gotcha. That's why it's first level.
Yeah.
Y'all crack the code. If you know any maneuvers from the fighter's Battle Master archetype, you can replace one maneuver you know with a different maneuver when you finish a long rest. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the whole.
Hey, it's
this
go.
is the physical combatant version of the bard swapping out a spell every long rest, because that's what a fighter is. A fighter is the bard, is the jack of all trades of melee and of weapon combat, and 100% on board with this.
Well, let's go. You're watching this at work because we're the best. Oh, and for those of you just tuning in, I'll repeat. If anyone wants to shoot out a question, even if it's unrelated to what we're talking about, and if it's related to like Dire Roll, we'll finish what we're talking about, and then I will answer any Dire Roll related questions. This is kind of like a quasi Q&A if you guys want. I didn't think we have a big enough audience to host a full Q&A. Also, this is very last minute. So if anyone wants to do like any kind of Dire Roll related questions, throw them out there, and once we wrap up whatever we're talking about, I will address those questions. I will not give spoilers, especially since I got 2 players here. I mean spoilers what hasn't aired yet. If you're behind, sorry. Do you house rule grapple rules at all? What's there to house rule?
They're
No.
pretty much perfect as is.
I got a funny. So go ahead.
I was to say, because some of the additional things that you can do with your grappling, such as push and shove, disarming, that kind of stuff, they are technically house rules or variant rules that you can add in.
Oh, they're
that are
optional,
found
like
in the
flanking?
DMG. Yeah.
I play with the optional grappling rules, but I do not play with flanking, because fuck flanking. Fight me. No, but I was going to say, kind of a random tidbit regarding grappling. I used to play in an online Chronicles of Darkness group, and they were all like, every storyteller has their own grappling rules because they're so confusing. And I'm sitting here like, but they're not. They're very straightforward. So that every time someone talks about grappling, it reminds me of that. It still bothers me to this day that they felt the need to have like 8 different homebrews that I had to remember when the rules were pretty self-explanatory in the book. Maybe I'm crazy. All right, so new maneuvers. I before we get into these, because I guess I'm gonna try to skim them, but I don't want to read each one in full detail. These maneuvers are awesome because they add a lot of non-melee maneuvers. The Battle Master is very melee focused to the point where it's kind of disappointing because fighters should be able to be ranged. Yeah. So ambush, you get Also, a lot of these are skill related. When you make a dexterity, stealth check, or initiative roll, I guess I am going to read all these. You can expend 1 superiority die and add that die to the roll. That's dope. That's a dope.
Love it.
Dope. That's dope.
Love it.
I love it. All right. Bait and switch. When you're within 5 feet of an ally on your turn, you can expend 1 superiority die and switch places with that ally, provided you have at least 5 feet of movement. You spend 5 feet of movement. This movement does not provoke an attack of opportunities. Roll the superiority die. Until the start of your next turn, the ally gains a bonus to AC equal to the number rolled. Pretty cool. Little situational. I'm not sure I'd grab it as a battle master. I like it that it's there.
I can see some sick combos with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Love it. Especially given the fact that, hey, we know we're going up against a flesh golem, and my rogue tends to get in stupid positions. Let me go ahead and on my long rest swap out something to bait and switch so that I can move him when he's in trouble.
This combined with the versatility, I can see it. But without the versatility where you're locked in, I wouldn't take it because it's too situational. But with
Agreed.
versatilities, like we're fighting in narrow hallways, I'm like, I need to be able to just hot swap with somebody. Definitely. All right, so next is... also the bonus AC is nice. Not that great, though, because ideally you're getting him out of danger. But if you're not getting him fully out of danger...
Only 5 feet.
Yeah, so it's nice. Honestly, without that second paragraph, I'd still use it in certain circumstances. But with that second paragraph, it's pretty usable. Okay, brace. When an enemy you can see moves within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to expend 1 superiority die and make 1 weapon attack against that creature. If the attack hits, add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll. So that's cool.
It's reverse opportunity attack.
Yeah, I feel like that already exists somewhere. There's a feat.
Is it Sentinel?
It's either Sentinel or Polearm Master, because everyone always combos.
Just allows you to make the opportunity
regardless if they disengage. Yeah. I think it's Polearm Master. Yeah, we're thinking.
When they come in, you can hit them. Yeah.
Pretty cool. I like it. Restraining strike. Can I just say, like, most of the baseline maneuvers, I think like 50-50 are just kind of crap, and the other half are quite good that everyone uses, and the other half are pretty shit. I don't mind adding new maneuvers. All right, so Restraining Strike. Immediately after you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack on your turn, you can expend 1 superiority die and use a bonus action to grapple the target. Add the superiority die to your strength check. The target is restrained while grappled this way. So good.
So good.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You do have to have a free hand to grapple, though, right?
Yes.
So, it's good, but most fighters are using both hands.
Yeah. Unless you take one of the fighting styles document.
You right. We'll get there. All right, Silver Tongue. So this is one of the cool ones where it's like, when you make a charisma, deception, or persuasion check, you can expend 1 superiority die and add superiority die to the ability check. I think it's cool that this is like out there, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense as a maneuver.
The skills that it gives you don't make sense. Like if it was intimidation, that would make sense.
Well, it's called Silver Tongue. I like it because I like playing characters who necessarily don't fit into their class as far as their personality, but it's weird in a vacuum. Like, it's the only maneuver that does this, and it's so...
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not the only one that does that. Look, there's another one we're getting to.
Oh, the Studious Eye. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's finish out all of them, and then we can talk about Silver Tongue and Studious Eye. Snipe. As a bonus action, you can expend 1 superiority die and make a ranged attack. You can draw a thrown weapon as part of making this attack. If you hit, add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll. Also insane. If you're playing a Battle Master Archer, that's just like another attack for more damage. Fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty dope.
Doesn't help you if you use crossbows, but without the
feet, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Although if you're a fighter, you're probably not using. If you're a ranged fighter who isn't playing with feats, I would not use a crossbow because it's like, look at all these attacks I can't make.
Yeah, unless you're doing like hand crossbow and then something else. But yeah.
Yeah. Fair. All right, Studious Eye. When you make a Wisdom, Insight, or Investigation check, you can expend one Spirited Eye, add Spirited Eye to the check. Yeah, so Studious Eye and Silver Tongue.
I like them as narrative roleplay options.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to play a fighter, but you also want to be the face of the party? Take Silver Tongue. Oh, you want to be the smart guy in the party, even though you're a fighter? Pick Studious Eye.
I don't hate it. I don't even dislike it, I don't think. But it kind of makes maneuvers feel more like invocations.
Why is that a bad thing?
Class, identity?
It is 2019. How dare you?
Yeah. You get out of here with your class identity.
Moving on then, unless PR's got something to add.
I don't like. I understand. Okay, I'm kind of torn about them because I get that it's nice to have maneuvers and something for the fighter that isn't I kill things good. I get that. I really appreciate that. I just don't understand how you can, like, once again from a narrative, rationalize that my training as a warrior has made me silver-tongued.
Studious Eye makes more sense.
Yeah.
From a tactical point of view. Silver Tongue makes it out to your character's more of a spy than a warrior. In which case you're not really a fighter.
Well then be a fighter rogue multi-class focused on dex attacks.
Silver Tongue is the one that's weird. I think Studious Eye works.
Yeah.
Like I guess, like I said, if it wasn't called Silver Tongue, like it gave you something to your intimidation, that would make sense. Like you're twirling your blades around or weapon around, you're doing some crazy stuff that would make you look imposing. I'm on board with, but for you to be trained as a fighter to be like, I'm good at lying to people.
It has narrative hiccups, I think.
Yeah, deception I can get behind. That's kind of weird. Persuasion I can see being the realm of a fighter.
Okay, the Battle Master is basically like a tactician, the way it's presented, right? There is a tactical advantage to lying and persuading. I think what's really hanging us up, or hanging me up,
is the fact that it's a maneuver.
Well, no. I don't want to speak for you. So what's hanging me up is that it's called Silver Tongue. Yeah, okay, so we got an unrelated question, so we'll get to that when we're done talking about the maneuvers.
No, for me, what's hanging me up is the fact that it's a maneuver. It's something that you've learned through your training.
I feel like this is like
warfare?
The vestiges of a future subclass. A more subterfuge-based fighter, which might be fun. Because with Xanthars, they put out a lot of multi-class subclasses. It would be really cool to see a fighter who's a little bit more sly, Yep.
Like, I mean, that also works for, like, a knight. They have to know how to deal with, like, the lords and everything like that, the political kind of ness of the kingdom. But it just feels weird that it's a maneuver. If this was a feature for something, sure. But
I don't think I think I'm at a different place than you are, Pierre. I think we have the same complaint, just I think we have different reasons for it, and that's okay. I don't mind it being a maneuver, it needs a new name, in my opinion.
Well, you're both wrong. It is absolute gold. Or silver, as the case may be.
New Guy says, flavor-wise, the fighter is usually the leader of the group, and so he could be the face with charisma. True, but this is only Battle Masters. I think that's what PR is saying. Is like, well, technically, you could take the superior technique and grab it.
Garbage fighting technique?
The garbage fighting technique. For champions who don't know what to take at 10th level. Alright, so that wraps up Fighter, unless you guys want to have anything else to talk about. No. All in all, I think Fighter got a lot of good stuff. Good class gets good stuff. Alright, so Danabu says, here's a semi-unrelated question thing. I just finished my first campaign as a player. The DM had to step down, and I said I would step in as DM. This would also be my first time DMing. I have 6 days to pull a homebrew campaign out of nowhere. Help. All right. Start small. Real small. Have a basically think of it like a one shot. And PR helped me recently with one shots, and I ignored him, and it was a disaster. Just instead of trying to get a whole world, make a town. Make a town that has a problem, and the party is there to solve the problem. And then let your players, when they're making their characters, help you build the greater world.
100%.
So the only thing I suggest you go to the table with prepared is the town and the town's problem, and how the party is going to solve that town's problem. Ignore everything else, especially since you're first-time DM. Don't try to Matt Mercer right out of the gate. You have a town, it's got a problem, the party's coming to the town, or lives in the town, or is in the town to solve the problem, and then let your players, when they're making their characters... If you're all new, then they may not be able to really give you a lot to work with, but they can give you seeds, especially if they're really good, like, early role players that really want to sink their teeth into it. Let them contribute to the world building. In fact, I'm about to play... at the end of November, I'm going to be playing like a family game with my cousins, and some of them it'll be their first time. And I started doing a lot of background prep, and then I just stopped. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to talk about what every nation's doing. I'm going to let my players come in and say, I want to be from this nation, and I'm going to be like, okay, tell me about that nation. What do you want it to be? Because I think that'd be a more fun experience for that group. And also for me, I think it's nice for me to get out of my comfort zone and like, instead of have the entire world ironclad laid out, which is my usual strategy, just let's do it freeform.
And to add a little bit to that right there, a common leadership concept is that and being a DM, you are a leader of a group. People are more invested in, and this is the wording from the leadership concept, which just ties in perfectly to what you were saying. People are far more invested in a world they help create. So if you get their input on, okay, what's that nation like? What's your hometown like? Give me some names of some people you knew growing up. They are a million times more invested when they come across that later on, and you've helped flesh out the part of the world that their character inhabits. You're going to have so much more buy-in and so much more enjoyment for everyone by doing exactly what Jaken said there.
Yeah, I mean, it also just makes less work for you.
Especially since you have 6 days as a first-time DM homebrew. Yeah.
So I have 3 suggestions. Number 1, Jaken covered. Start small with a town and a problem, and then as your players are getting ready, even after the first adventure that's a town with its problem, you could have another problem arise in that town. If they want to start going other places, that's when you start introducing new places, either a couple of new places or just like a single kingdom. But for now, stick to a town.
Yeah.
Easiest to run, easiest to come up with. You just need a couple of places, like a tavern, a place for them to buy equipment, maybe if you want to do a tavern and a bar, do that. I mean, you can have a place that maybe there's a mage tower. You just need a couple places in a small town, just a couple of NPCs that they can interact with, have them have a problem, and go from there. Second thing, sorry.
No, I didn't want to cut you off at all. I'm sorry.
The second thing I highly recommend is, if it's a bunch of new players, especially, hopefully you'll sit down and have like a session 0 with them, where you talk about what the players want from the campaign, such as if they want, like, they don't like riddles, or if they don't like puzzles, or if they don't like anything with intrigue, or if they want something that's heavily like based on like religious or like tied into like the religions of the world. Sure, just have a talk, make sure that everyone is on the same page. It's really weird to have like 4 people make good characters and 1 person to make a totally evil character and then try to shoehorn that together. Just have a talk with them and figure out what everyone finds as enjoyable. For your first time, this seems a little weird because you're just like, well, I don't know what I like. Just ask your players, hey, when you play the game, what is it? Or when you read a story, what are some things that really stand out, and kind of give the audience what they want. The third piece of advice I have is, don't be afraid to bullshit. your players are not going to know what is written and what you're coming up with at all. And to that kind of lesser extent, if you do create something and you don't get to use it, save it for later. Because once again, you can put something you created for your first adventure in your 9th adventure, and no one's gonna know.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there's like some like obvious, like, oh, that's the NPC from back here that's dead now.
Yeah. One thing to that last point Phisto said, Matt Colville said in one of his videos, if ever the player asks you something about your world that you don't know, feign like you lost it. And he says, if you say, I don't know, we're ignoring that, then the player's going to feel like, man, I don't, they're going to be demoralized to keep inquiring about your world. But if you say, oh man, it's got to be in one of these notes somewhere, but I can't find it right now, let me get back to you, then they're like, oh, it exists. And that's more encouraging than to shoot them down, even if you're totally lying.
Fake it till you make it.
Even if you don't feign like you've lost it, just say, something that I've had a lot of success with is just saying, listen, just when they ask you, oh, I don't know right now, but I will definitely get back to you. And when we figure it out, either after this session or later on, then we will have everyone. But saying that you don't know immediately is not a bad thing. There's
That's true.
No, unless your players are dicks, they're not going to be like, oh, you don't know this one like super minute detail? Game's trash. That's not going to happen.
Well, I guess what I was trying to say, and PR helped me refine it, is don't close the door on their curiosity. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't have anything behind the door, leave the door open. And as for your second remark here, I'm using Rule 22, and there's just too many options in macros and tokens and so on. I think of just rolling dice manually to make it easier for me. I do a suite of macros for every single campaign, and usually when I get new players playing with me on Roll20, they always get confused by them, but they adapt quickly, and that is I set up... I always roll out in the open these days, but if you want a GM roll, that's well within your prerogative. So you either do /R or /GR. GR is private, only you can see that roll. /R is open to everyone. And you make the following /R/GR. You do 1d4, 1d6, 1d8, 1d10, 1d12, 2d6, 1d20, 2d20, and a d100. And that's it. That's all the dice I need. And then I'll tell my party when I'm rolling out in the open, I'm saying this attack has a +5 bonus. I'm very open with background information, mostly because... I trust my party, and we can't fudge anything anyway. So I'm like, this guy has a +5 to attack, so he needs an X. I mean, you've watched my show already, Danabu. So I usually say, like, this guy's a +5 to hit. He needs an X to hit you, Vegas. And then I'll roll, and if he gets the X, Vegas knows that's a hit. And there's no confusion. And I don't need to make a macro for every single character. I was just helping my buddy on our Thursday game. He was trying to input every single monster he was using into the journal with a monster stat block and roll off of that. I'm like, you're making way too much work for yourself. So basically, just make the dice and explain the bonuses, and be consistent with it. Don't cheat, especially if you're rolling above the board. And if you're rolling GM roll, that's fine too. I don't do it anymore, but if you do it, it's totally viable.
I am of a different mentality than Jaken. If you were not rolling out in the open, let's say you were going to be rolling on Roll20, even if it's on Roll20, but you're doing the GM rolls, I would rather personally roll a real D20, because it is a lot easier and quicker for me to pick up a D20 and drop it than do hit /R, whatever, or even hit a macro. It's still saves so much time. So if you're rolling behind the screen, sure, roll a D20 real life. I mean, if you are talking to people, a la like voice like we do, they will hear the die drop, so they'll know that it's being rolled. Unless you have like some sort of fancy padding or whatnot on your like rolling area. But I'm rolling on a desk, so it makes sound.
Yeah,
and it's just quickly up and down. I go like this, and I'm rolling.
Yeah, but if you want your players to see your dice, quick macros. But I think Phisto's totally right. If you don't plan on sharing your rolls with them, which is again totally your prerogative, there's nothing wrong with hiding your rolls. I hid my rolls for years. I just stopped doing it because that's preference. Then you go ahead and roll physical dice.
Denavo, over on Twitch, new guy is in our chat, and he added a little bit of input there regarding Jaken's macros. Jaken does also have a macro to auto crit us when the monster should be easy.
No, that's
So
roll 20. That's not me. I started
his
inputting
D4s only
NPCs and
roll
got to
fours.
4, and I thought there's no way I'm doing this for all of them. Definitely don't do that.
Yeah, don't.
Either roll physically or, behind the screen however you want, or roll out in the open with just your standard dice. Just one of these, and that's it. You do the math after the fact. 5th edition, everything's really crunched down. It's quick. Now, when you get to monsters' damage rolls, you might have to type if you're rolling out in the open, like for 2d8. If I'm in a rush, I'll just click the d8 twice and then do the math myself, or I'll type out the macro. It's preference there, but don't overburden yourself with filling in details into roll 20.
One last little bit of new DM advice, and actually this is just DM advice in general. Another concept from something that isn't specifically tabletop. Improv theater / improv comedy. There is a rule called yes and. When you're role playing something out, or your players come up with a really off the wall idea, try to stay away from shutting down what your storytelling partners are doing, and instead of saying no, yes and, or a yes but. So like you acknowledge it, you incorporate it, and then you expand upon it. That's going to get a lot of buy-in as well. And you do that, and you'll find your players start doing that with each other. And next thing you know, they're building out entire scenarios while you're sitting back behind your screen,
writing everything down.
writing everything down, or fingers templed up like a James Bond villain going, excellent.
I think the three of us could agree. DMing is a very rewarding experience.
Oh, yes.
You can have a
This is how I usually spend most of my games.
Yep, same.
Depending on the group, I'm sometimes just like this. Like when they're attacking the Bear King. And I don't know why.
We can't see you, so that means nothing to us.
It's me with my hand in my face going, oh no.
Oh, okay.
It's my oh dear face.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're Picarding?
Yeah. And whenever new guys are around it, facepalm every 5 minutes. Another thing, don't give your party the Rod of Resurrection. I think my brother would like to pass that wisdom on to all new DMs. Don't give your players the Rod of Resurrection. I don't think he's watching, but if he is, he knows what I'm talking about.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it. If you have any more questions about that, we could probably fill the next 2.5 hours with just DM advice. Yeah. So let's keep it specific, or else we'll just start rambling. All right, guys, you ready to get back to class features?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay. Next is Monk. Monk have a very little half page here. So here we go, Monk weapons. I was talking with New Guy again on Thursday, and he does not like this. So, New Guy, I got you, fam. So this is an enhancement to martial arts. When you can use this feature to define your monk weapons rather than use the definition in martial arts. You practice your martial arts with specifically chosen weapons, which become monk weapons for you. You choose a number of weapons to be your monk weapons, equal to 5 plus your wisdom modifier, minimum of 5 weapons. These chosen weapons must have the following criteria. They must be simple or martial, you must be proficient with them, and they cannot be heavy, special, or two-handed. I hate this, and here's why. Because Kensais exist.
Okay. Yes. But this, I think, it's not specifically said here, but the impression I get off of this is for a character who has multi-classed into monk.
I guess I can see that.
Because the thing that I hated this at first, because I was like, you must be proficient. The only weapons monks are proficient with are monk weapons. But that's when it hit me. I was like, well, where else are they getting weapon? Oh.
Multi-class.
So you can multi-class into monk, and instead of being like, well, I'm a rogue and I typically use my rapier, but I don't get to use that with my martial arts stuff. So
I guess I punch him.
Or I guess I punch him. Now you can take your previous training and adapt it to your new training.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
narratively,
I
like it.
I think Monk is one of the classes that's very hard to multi-class with because of that reason.
Agreed.
But I still hate it. I completely understand what you're saying, and I'm completely on board with what you're saying. But also, I hate it.
Okay.
I don't agree with. So the mentality of, let's take the rogue concept that we were just talking about. So you couldn't make martial arts attacks with your rapier. Cool. With a rapier in hand, because rogues are not proficient with shields, you still have a free hand. So you would make your normal melee attack with your rapier, doing sneak attack damage, a mainstay of rogues, and then you would use your bonus action to make your martial art attacks with your fist.
And I also should point out that stuff like Stunning Strike doesn't specify that you have to be using a monk weapon.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, the only thing a monk weapon means is you get to replace its damage with monk damage, which I guess would be nice specifically for a dagger. But I don't like. Actually, you're already proficient with simple weapons as a monk.
Yep,
so,
and short sword.
So I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not saying I like it. I'm saying I don't hate it.
I think this is an example of them streamlining too much.
Yeah. I get where they were going with it. I just think multi-classing into monk is garbage to begin with.
I agree. But I still don't like it. So I think agree to disagree on this one. Me and PR don't like it. Vegas says it's good for multi-classing. He's not wrong. I just don't like it.
Right.
You think multi-classing into a monk, there would be a little bit of training time for you to get the ability to use the weapons you're used to fighting as part of your martial arts, which would be the time that you get to 3rd level and you choose Kensai, which would allow you to use those weapons.
Because Kensai kind of fills this gap already.
Yes,
yeah.
but however, not every monk is narratively a martial artist from a Shaolin monastery. I am playing a goblin monk, a drunken master monk, who is not a martial artist at all. He's just an angry, violent alcoholic.
Well, for that, the homebrew class Pugilist is really dope. If you don't want to play a monk, but you want to punch people.
Yeah, I do like that one.
But that's a topic for another time. I'm playing a Pugilist on our Thursday game, and it is a blast.
But you could still take a Kensai and not make it from a monastery. Like, you can reflavor anything.
You can reflavor anything, exactly. If you're playing a monk who doesn't use ki flavorfully, you're already reflavoring the class anyway, so take Kensai. Right. Yeah, I think monk weapons is pointless because Kensai exists. And you may say, but monk weapons is for everybody. I'm like, yeah, but that's a very specific build you're doing there, which means you might as well play a Kensai.
Right.
I don't like it. Moving on. I think we're just going to keep hitting our heads against that one. So it's 2-1 there. Make your own decisions at home. All right. Key fueled strike. If you spend 1 key or more as part of your attack, as part of your action on your turn, you can then immediately make 1 unarmed strike as a bonus. I like it. It's a flat buff. I like it.
Yeah, it's really good for kind of the classes we were talking about earlier, or the archetypes, the like elemental adept, or even the shadow one, where they're using their actions to cast spells, because why would monks not have spells?
Right, yeah, obviously.
And so they could do their like burning hands if they're the elemental master adept, whatever the hell it's called, and then could still make a bonus action to punch, which fits narratively. I'm 100% on board.
Yeah.
And in case someone listening isn't familiar with why this is so good, part of martial arts let you use a bonus action to make an unarmed attack when you attack. Right. So it's basically like an early extra attack, but you have to use your bonus. This lets you spend ki to overcome the fact that you're not attacking in order to get that extra attack in. So it's it's pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
It's good and a welcome addition. All right, key features. So these are in addition to second level key powers like Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, and Step of the Wind. So in addition to those, you can add one or all or none. Distant Eye, when you make a ranged weapon attack, you can spend 1 key point to prevent attacking at long... Oh my god. I gotta pause. I hate the way this is worded so much. Let me try to barrel through it. You can spend 1 key point to prevent attacking at long range from imposing disadvantage on your attack rolls until the end of the current turn. Who wrote that? Fire them. It makes sense, but you have to stop because prevent attacking is a very weird juxtaposition.
Yeah. Grammatically correct, contextually confusing.
Exactly. So what it does is... Yeah, Denabu says say again. All right, so basically, when you make a ranged weapon attack at long range, you get disadvantage. So if you're attacking at the second range bracket, so if it's like, I'm just throwing out 30, 90. So if you're attacking beyond 30, but less than 90, that's long ranged, you have disadvantage. With Distant Eye, you can spend a key point to negate that disadvantage. It's worded horribly, but that's what it means.
Yep.
Wording notwithstanding, yeah, it's good.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's actually more beefy than we may realize because it's all attack rolls.
Yes. So it's 1 key for the turn. Yeah.
And because it's a ranged attack and the way throwing weapons work, this is turning your throwing weapons into a crazy distance.
Yeah, I like it.
And you can, because you can, they're monk weapons, so you could do your normal attack, get 2 or 3 monk weapons out, and then, oh no, I guess Flurry of Blows specifically says they have to be
unarmed attacks. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because then you can just Flurry of Blows, but I mean, you could also trigger your Acute Field Strike to potentially do it. Oh, that's unarmed.
It's also unarmed. Yeah.
I saw that.
His bonus attacks are always unarmed. That's the way the monk operates. But yeah, I like it. In general, I like it. It lets you just, you could do the assassin nunchuck, or not nunchuck, assassin ninja star from across the room. Yeah, I like it. I'm down. The wording needs so much work as to not be funny. Next one is Quickened Healing. This one is nuts. As an action, you can spend 2 key points and roll a martial arts die. You regain a number of hit points equal to the number rolled.
That's so silly.
Self-heal.
Why... Counter proposal, make it 1 key point, make it 10 hit points. No, keep it 2 key points and make it 10 hit points.
Nope. Make it 1 key points. 1 key point for your martial arts die. That's bearable because you get this at second level.
Which means it's a D6, right? No, D4.
D4.
Yeah.
So you're spending 2 key points at second level where
Which
you
is
have
all your key points. Yeah.
Key points to gain a D4 hit point.
So this agreed at second level, early on, absolute garbage.
Later on, absolutely awesome.
Golden. And you can be like, oh, I'm a monk tank and I need to self-heal myself. Let me go ahead and do that. Oh, and I just spent key as part of my action. Let me hit you anyway with an unarmed strike as a bonus because of key field strike.
It does help the fact that monks, in all my experience, so this is an anecdote. No, is that anecdotal evidence? They're glass cannons. What I find monks do consistent damage, but not high damage, and they do a lot of crowd control with their stunning strikes and shit. And they're hard to hit, but they don't have a lot of hit points. That's been my anecdotal experience with monks. Is they're kind of like a harasser class that just whips around the battlefield, fucking your day up, but doesn't really
They're
like
a jungler.
Yeah, exactly. They're a jungler, exactly. This kind of helps them stay in the fight when it's getting clutch.
Does nothing, really, even at higher levels. So
it's not a lot of hit points.
Even when you get to your D10 or D12.
D10 is the highest they go.
D10, that's 17, 18th level. A D10 hit points at that level does nothing.
You're right. It's a drop in a bucket. And it should be 1 key point.
2 fucking key points.
You're right. This is a hot garbage one.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I'm
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Maybe with 1 key point, it's viable. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, it's not as bad. Because then it's like I'm spending a key point, whatever. Like that's for me to do. Everything is essentially a key point. So if I really need that D4 or D6 or D8 hit points, cool. It's there. I have it on the ready. I mean, it's also costing your action, which we could also talk about maybe changing.
I think the only reason it costs 2 is for higher levels, because 20 D10 heal at 20th level will add up.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's an action, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's eating up
So
your
you
action. It should be 1.
You don't get to fight. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
you just sit there healing. Neat.
And
All
not
right.
even that good of healing.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. If it was a bonus action and it wasn't cost 2, it would be really good. But it's right as it is right now. It's really hot shit. All right, time to go to my dear, sweet, abused child paladin.
Do you know what the paladin reminds me of in this UA? Do you remember the South Park episode where they have Indiana Jones?
No, I only recently got into South Park, and I've been going backlog.
Okay.
But as soon as my daughter started repeating words, I stopped watching it around her, so I don't have a lot of time.
Vegas, I'm assuming you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's how I feel paladins got treated.
Yeah.
Granted, paladins are an incredibly tight and powerful class base, so... But the fact that they keep getting robbed is triggering me.
Paladins are tight.
Paladins are tight. All right, so they also get access to the new fighting styles that we'll list later on, and they get access to a unique one called Blessed Warrior. You learn 2 cantrips of your choice from the Cleric spell list. They count as paladin spells for you, and Charisma is your spellcasting ability for them. Whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of those cantrips with another from the Cleric spell list. The reason I emphasize Cleric is because we have already mentioned they have shit cantrips.
Yep.
I wouldn't take this.
Nope.
I would. Spare the dying.
Yeah, and you're already up close with the lay on hands.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't you just lay on hands?
Because it's starting at first level, you got a pool of 5.
True.
So that is really easy to burn through. Then also light. Light is really useful to have.
Yeah.
Thaumaturgy. Your Word of Radiance, which is an amazing...
Word of Radiance was the other one they added. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Cleric
a pretty
cantrip.
dope cleric.
Just dealing damage to everyone within 5 feet of me. Fuck you. Like, man. You
Radiant damage, no less.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it scales.
Alright, so it's not terrible. The problem is paladins only get 1 fighting style. That's the problem. Whereas champion fighters, you can pick 2.
Yes.
With paladin,
But,
you're sacrificing a lot of fighterness to get a handful of cantrips.
Well, now, devil's advocate here. I have played a casting focused paladin before. I mean, obviously that's not a great choice because they're not a full caster. But when you go into that,
I mean, aren't you playing one now?
Why are you up here? Go downstairs.
he's not. I'm playing a paladin. He's not a casting focused one. I did decide to not take the generic spells are only good for smites mentality towards my paladin. But I could see this working for someone, like especially like a redemption paladin. Was it Oath of Redemption?
Yep.
Yeah.
I could see this being very good for Oath of Redemption.
I have no idea where it is. I thought it was right here. Did you move it?
I mean, if you're playing like a Vengeance Pally or a Conquest Pally, this is garbage. But
once again, that Word of Radiance is a hard one to, because that is a 5 foot, like you just wade into combat, and especially at 5th level, boom, 2d6 to everyone around you.
Yeah.
It's viable, I think is what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you know what? Actually, I'm gonna 100% agree with viable because I just remembered paladins don't get cantrips.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Yes. This is access to cantrips.
Ooh, okay. I take it back. I like this.
It's viable, even though cleric cantrips
that you can switch out at every level.
Yes.
All right. So paladin spell list. They got Spirit Guardians and Flame Strike. The only reason I mentioned Flame Strike is because Death Knights get Flame Strike. And Death Knights, to me, are always adjacent to Paladins, even though in 5th edition they really aren't. Maybe that's my own headcanon that I made up.
Here's gonna go back to when we were talking about other classes poaching paladin spells and how they're balanced differently. Here's where paladins are getting shafted again, even though this is a good spell list. But by
all
the time
7 of them.
by the time you gain access to, for example, Spirit Guardians, by the time you gain access to 3rd level spells as a paladin, Spirit Guardians,
It's pretty shit. You get 3rd level at 9th level.
yeah.
Although
3d8.
life transference, that's a new favorite of mine, courtesy of PR.
Thank you, PR.
But you get it at 9th level. The
But
problem
once
with
again, another 4d8. So same with Spirit Guardians. So Spirit Guardians is 3d8 to anyone within 15 feet of you, and it's difficult terrain. I can see that being an acceptable thing at 9th level. That is like you're playing a paladin, so you're gonna be walking into the thick of it. Now everyone within 15 feet of me is that, I'm not choosing not to have affected. Now they're in difficult terrain. They can't get away from me. And now whenever they start their turn, they're going to take damage. And I mean, you couple that with a high constitution, I'm more than likely going to make the saves, or just having a high AC, you're not going to be able to hit me. But Dawn and Flame Strike should not be a 5th level spell. I will agree on that. That is ridiculous.
Dawn, for flavor, I like Dawn. But Flame Strike, Paladins already have a 5th level spell an AoE 5th level spell that is like, mwah. So I don't know why you would use Dawn. I gotta look it up because I want to.
Unless you were fighting vampire, I think it should be like a 4th level. Even
well, I like. Level. Well, they're going with the level of the spell. They're not going to give it to you early,
right?
Unfortunately. What am I thinking? Destruction Wave is already like so good, and this is one of those spells that is tuned for a paladin, which is why I'm glad I didn't see it on any list, because it does for a 5th level spell, it does insane damage. Destructive Wave. So I probably would use that over Flame Strike any day.
But you get Destructive Wave at level 15, because you get your 5th level spells at 15, right?
Right, that's when you would get Flame Strike too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 5th level spells is 9th level if you're a cleric.
Right.
That's why I'm saying like they should have the spells at lower levels, which I get.
They would have to add a whole bunch of new rules for that. I'm saying is Flame Strike, giving it to paladins at the level they would get it, right?
Yeah.
Probably pointless.
Yeah.
But Dawn, I think, as a flavor, that's cool.
I mean,
for flavor.
Because at that level you're fighting vampires anyways, and that's oh look, now there's actual sunlight.
Yeah, and also paladins are divine casters, so it's not like they're taking this in lieu of something else. They just need to prepare it.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor?
What? What do you need?
Yeah, it's the whole spell level tuning thing that in
I
their
can't do that right now. Ask your mom. Sorry, guys. He's incorrigible tonight.
In their quest to simplify, we lost a little something there, I think.
Yup.
Prayer of Healing is kind of a nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly that I'm personally exempting from my whole spell level tuning argument for them to get that at what did they get?
5th?
2nd level spells at 5th?
5th?
Yeah, that's fine for them to have it at 5th level.
Well, it's just a nice. It's nice. It's a non-combat heal, if I recall correctly. So it's nice that paladins get it.
Yeah.
Because
Warding Bond.
Warding Bond is pretty dope. Yeah.
Yeah, even that at 5th
Honestly,
level.
their 2nd and 3rd are great. Their 5th, again, I like Dawn for the flavor. Flame Strike is just, I wouldn't use it.
It just occurred to me when you mentioned Warding Bond, because the paladin that I'm playing on Enfrost gets Warding Bond as an expanded spell list for his oath. If these make it in to official rules, they're gonna have to go in and adjust a lot of bonus spells, expanded
spell lists.
Well, it doesn't.
Spell lists.
It's with a paladin. It's not expanded. It's not like the warlock. So those are just spells that you constantly have memorized or prepared.
Right.
So it wouldn't really change.
True. Yeah, true.
You just wouldn't have to prepare it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for both cleric and paladin, they list spells that you already have, but you just don't have to prepare them anymore.
Well, not all of them.
Some, yes, but some. I meant not all, but some. All right. So they also get the harness divine power. I think for a paladin, this is going to be more useful because the paladin channel divinities are pretty hit and miss based on your subclass, and the ability to get a first level spell slot for a paladin is a lot bigger deal in my opinion.
Yeah. Agreed.
Get
Love
one
it.
more divine smite.
Yeah, well, free smites. Thank you.
Thank you. Come again. So all in all, paladin. Yeah. All right. They didn't get much. They got robbed. They got robbed a lot. But from what they got is they didn't get anything bad. I mean, obviously we're talking shit about frame strike, but it's but since they're a divine caster, child, go play somewhere else. Go play in your room. You want to be with Daddy?
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna hang out all tomorrow. I'm home all day tomorrow. I'm home all day every day. Just, I'm doing the stream one night a week when I need you to not
What's
play.
your first, or what's your favorite spell that you have with your paladin right now?
What's the favorite spell that I have? Oh,
Yeah,
Mm.
with a new paladin to our group.
Good question. I like the spells I got with him. I like the spells that I have typically prepared, like all of them. I favorite is going to be difficult. Let me actually pull up my spell list over here and take a look.
I appreciate you guys trying to cover me, but I am ready to move on.
Okay.
All right, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I'm just curious as
I am also curious, but since you don't have one readily available, I don't want to spend too much time on it. All right, everyone, we've come to Ranger.
Oh yay!
So let me feel the room before we talk about the new Ranger changes. It is of this Dungeon Master's humble opinion that Ranger in all its forms is hot, stinking garbage. Discuss.
So the only thing that really sucks about it, which they kind of dealt with in the errata, is their favorite enemy from the raw of the PHB is hot trash.
Yep.
And obviously the Beastmaster is also.
Oh, don't get me started.
Yep.
There's some quick.
Caddy,
changes.
you're a trooper.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
I gave her props in the first game when I found out that she was playing a Beastmaster
Of her own volition.
And not like errata. I'm just like,
yeah.
what? Other than that, there's a couple of things that you could just do to change both of them to make them make sense. The favorite enemy, in the errata that they have, they change it where he actually deals extra damage. That makes sense.
I haven't seen the errata. I'm gonna level with you.
They made an errata for the Ranger that
made it viable.
Kinda. They got rid of being able to attack multiple times for some other things that I didn't like. But their actual favorite enemy actually makes sense. Like you gain a language that they speak, or just an extra language if they don't speak languages. You actually deal extra damage to them, as well as knowing how to hunt them. Beastmaster, though, what they released for the Unearthed Arcana for the Druid that we were talking about with I'm going to summon a Flame Spirit, they have that worked out. So on your turn, you can spend a bonus action to give a command to this spirit. And these commands can be dodge, use one of their abilities on their sheets, help, disengage, dash. On their turn, which is immediately after you, they then move, and then if you don't spend your bonus action to give them a command, they just take the dodge action. But if you do use your bonus, then they can make attacks, they can do actual stuff. So if they just would have done something simple like that for the Beastmaster right off the hop, and then, I don't know, made the Beastmaster's pet viable past level 4, it would make sense. But
Vegas, anything to add? No, yeah.
Nope, agreed.
Yeah. Especially when they came out with Scout. I was like, oh, hey, look, it's a better Ranger.
Yeah. Yep.
I played a Ranger up to 11th level. And no matter what level, no matter what magic item I had, I'm like, man, I am underperforming compared to everyone else at the table.
Super brief question for you, Jaken.
Yeah.
I don't recall when I played Jakath in your game. Was that 5th edition or 3.5?
Well, I don't play Fit 3.5 ever.
Oh,
so
yeah, I have played a ranger in one of your games.
you were playing a hunter though, not a beastmaster.
Yep, that's true.
So here's the thing. Again, this is personal preference. If someone came to me and said, "Yo, I want a beast pet," I'd be like, "All right, you want a wolf? Here's the wolf stat block. Roll initiative for it. You're in charge of it. You run it." That's how I would do it if Beastmaster in Ranger didn't exist. Okay, so we got it out of the way that Ranger is Flaming Heart garbage. So, before we dive into the Ranger class feature changes, which are so much better than the base class, we're going to go to a quick break if you guys are so inclined.
Yeah.
Let's do a bathroom break. I'm going to try to get him into pajamas and get him to stop interrupting me, but no promises. So we're going to take a quick break, 10 minutes, so we'll come back around 15 after. Stick around, we're going to keep talking about the UA. Honestly, I thought we were going to move on to a different topic, but this is a meaty document, which is fine. Yeah, we're having a blast. People are watching. So we're going to take a quick 10-minute break. We'll be back 15 after. See y'all then. All right, we're back. I could not... apparently the warranty is voided. I couldn't return the toddler. So you may continue to hear him in the background for the next 40 minutes or so before he goes to bed. And apparently now he's got a cough, so that's just great.
Tell you need to be like Ben Stiller from Happy Gilmore.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Oh. I just feel bad for you.
I don't even know you anymore, Jaken.
Okay, well now that's out of the way. Ranger. All right, so apparently there was an errata that I never knew about, so we're gonna just gust past that. So the level 1 Ranger gets to do nothing. They get Favored Enemy and Natural Explorer, both of which are highly situational, and unless your GM rams you into it immediately, this will come up a few times. Favored Enemy gives you what? Survival checks.
Yep. Intelligence and wisdom based checks.
And then you get some languages.
Yeah.
And then Natural Explorer gives a bunch of exploration abilities based on one particular environment. You learn more environments, more favorite enemies as you level up. Very lackluster. The flavor is there.
The Natural Explorer, I think, is a very underrated feature of the Ranger. It's probably one of their best features.
If you do a lot of traveling and the DM actually plays it out.
Yes, I mean, not even so much just traveling, as long as... So, forest, which will probably be almost everyone's catch-all, encompasses a lot of forest. Like jungles, that falls under forest. And what you can do in it with them. So, difficult terrain doesn't slow you down. As your ranger, you can be keeping an eye out and searching for food, or keeping an eye out and following a track. It allows you to do multiple things. So normally it's when you're traveling, it's everyone can only do one thing, like keep an eye out or look for tracks or get food, which if you are also gathering food, you gather twice the amount of food and water. You also know how to naturally avoid pitfalls and dangers of that terrain. Then, of course, there's while you're in it for an hour, you and your party can you just can move at full speed while stealthing instead of at a slower speed. So it is situational in that you have to be in that terrain. But usually when people make a ranger, they will probably ask the DM, like, hey, what
terrains are we going to... Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you... Like I said, I like the... And yeah, Natural Explorer, it does seem underrated. You were detailing it. It does seem like it has value. But as from my DMing style, I don't worry about a lot of that most of the time.
Okay.
I can see campaigns where it'd be dope that I would like to run, but generally I don't like to get too much down to the nitty gritties. I'm like, let's just get to the next heroic event type of thing. So travel for me is usually just like how many days is it? Check it off. Cool. Moving on. But I can see it being very valuable in a different kind of campaign. And the favorite enemy It's pretty lackluster. Apparently there's an errata that makes it a little better, but yeah.
Hot human refuse.
So, let's talk about the replacements. So, even though favorite enemy is before Natural Explorer in the book, Deft Explorer is first. I assume because they listed it alphabetically. So this Deft Explorer replaces Natural Explorer. You just heard PR's pitch for why Natural Explorer isn't hot garbage. It's just all right. So here are you get to choose one of these benefits instead of your Natural Explorer, and then at 6th level you get another one, and then at 10th level you get the third and final one. So at 10th level you'll have all three of these. So, Canny, choose one skill. It is a long list. I won't read them all. You gain proficiency in the chosen skill, and you get expertise. Double your proficiency bonus in that skill. In addition, thanks to your extensive wandering, you're able to speak, read, and write 2 languages of your choice. So Canny covers the languages you get from favorite enemy, and then it gives you expertise in one skill.
Love it.
Roving, your walking speed increases by 5, and you gain a climbing speed and a swimming speed equal to your walking speed.
Love it.
So good. Stupidly good, actually. To the point where I hate how powerful that is. The climbing speed, really.
Swimming speed. That breaks so many things. Like, so many scenarios that climbing and swimming speeds would come in handy. You were just giving it away at first level, because why are you not taking this at first level? Not only does it make you move faster, but then on top of that, you get a climbing speed and a swimming speed equal to your walking speed. Man, you have any water fighting, you don't have any disadvantage or whatnot, so you can attack with any weapon. And then climbing speed, I mean,
it's almost as if Wizards is saying, "Hey Rangers, we're sorry."
Yeah, man, I think this is an overcorrection. Roving is stupid powerful.
Yeah.
Especially since, like you said, you can get it at first level. A swimming speed, like you said, if you're fighting in water and you have a swimming speed, you don't suffer any of the penalties of being in water, except for maybe you have to hold your breath, right? If you're underwater.
Yep.
And then climbing speed, bro. Climbing speed, as I read it and as it's presented in the monster manual, does not take into account any factors to climb. If you have a climbing speed, that means you can just go straight up your speed in climbing. So that means Rangers at first level can just fucking goblin up a wall, a sheer wall, 35 feet straight up a marble surface, basically, with no hand grips, just up.
and then dive off that wall into an ocean and
and power swim to the other island. Roving is too powerful. Sorry, Rangers, you don't get that much buff. Canny, alright. Roving, no, bro. Instead, here's my fix to roving. Your walking speed increases by 5, and you gain advantage on athletics checks whenever you are rolling to climb or swim.
that would also be.
I like it. I like that fix.
I know it kind of overlaps with Canny, because in Canny you can just give yourself athletics expertise, but then it doubles up with Canny when you get both, because eventually you get all 3, right? So it doubles up, so you get expertise if you chose athletics. You may not have chosen athletics, but you could. You get expertise and advantage when you climb or swim. That would be my homebrew fix to roving. I don't know how we can. There is a like they do a questionnaire every week with the UA. So I suppose if I'm really committed, I can submit that about roving, but I usually don't put in that much effort. I'm a really busy guy. I have kids. Tireless. As an action, you can give yourself a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d10 plus your wisdom modifier. You can use this special action a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, a minimum of once. And you regain all uses when you finish a long rest. In addition, when you finish a short or long rest, if you have exhaustion level, if any, it decreases by 1. Also, not great. Actually, this is not great, not overpowered. This is not that great for the same reasons why the monk one wasn't that great. It takes your action.
Yeah, but you get a D10 plus your wisdom modifier already
better out of the gate. Yes. Yeah. Especially at first level, it's basically a full heal.
Mm-hmm.
What were you about to say?
I was going to say the reason to me it's great is just the exhaustion level decrease.
Yes, that is a handy addendum. I think compared to, especially compared to roving speed as written, but compared to the other two, if I don't want to put on my designer hat and talk only about my roving, but it seems like the weakest of the three.
Agreed.
Except that the level 1 full heal is pretty nice. Now that you mention it, it doesn't stack well as you level up, but at level 1 it's dope.
Yeah, but at level 1, are you going to take that over one of the advantages of having one of the other two at first?
Well, if you're going into a dungeon as your first adventure, yeah.
I mean, also depending on.
Well, again,
for those,
if we're not talking roving as is, because obviously everyone would take roving.
Yeah,
it's so fucking powerful.
It also depends on the thematic. Like,
yeah.
See, the thing I don't like about the Deft Explorer thing is how they present it. And the first line is, "You are unsurpassed."
Right.
Sorry, you are an unsurpassed
explorer and survivor.
Explorer and survivor. None of these really dive into the exploring and surviving like the wilderness, other than the roving. And I guess canny if you choose survival.
Well, the thing is, I think I will pretend that I know what they were thinking for a moment. My theory, if you will. Natural Explorer and Favorite Enemy are exploration abilities, because the Ranger was supposed to be an exploration heavy class, but they're the only exploration heavy class, which makes them mechanically inferior. Beastmaster notwithstanding. While, yes, you've made the case that Natural Explorer has a lot of potential in it, they have decided with this replacement to go hard mechanical value. So I agree that the flavor isn't there, but I understand why they're doing this. I just think they should have, instead of naming it Deft Explorer, they should have named it something else. I think it's they got their signals crossed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, honestly, again, assuming what they were thinking here, and tying into what you're saying, excuse me, Rangers being the only exploration-focused class, this is as much for players as it is for DMs. Because if you've got someone that just is adamant on playing a Ranger, and you're not really prepared,
doing a lot of travel,
right? Or oh well, I've got a Ranger now. Now I have to in there, and the rest of the party is just observing as you focus spotlight on something that Ranger is focused on and good at, and what they're going to get enjoyment out of. This is one of those. Okay, play a Ranger, but absolutely, let's think about taking Deft Explorer instead of Natural Explorer, because I'm not going to do a lot of traveling focus in the sessions.
Okay.
I just realized that Tireless is temporary hit points, and holy shit, it's a lot better now at level 1, because you can just use your first action to double your hit points. yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry. I just had to. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
you
that's
were about to say.
So, kind of devil advocate to that is, you mentioned the whole spotlight thing. As long as the spotlight is continuously moving and not just staying on one person for too long, it shouldn't matter if the Rangers do have this one thing that they're good at. Rangers can't identify magical items. That's the kind of wizard bard, like arcane caster thing. You don't go, oh, well, I should give Rangers something to identify items, because, I mean, these guys, I don't want my Ranger not doing anything or any of the other classes that can identify. I just think that because they have the Natural Explorer, doesn't mean that you have to focus a whole bunch on, but I mean, it could come up. How many adventures are set in a forest or in some sort of outdoors and not in a dungeon?
All right.
None. Okay.
I have a response that may be agreeing with you or disagreeing with you, but real quick, I should have said this when we came back from the redundancy of my life. From we came back from the break. We have some people just tuning in. For those of you unfamiliar, Wizards of the Coast puts out an Unearthed Arcana. These are playtest packets that they release to the public to be playtested. They just recently released. Are you serious? What time is it? It's 8:31. local time. Go away now. So, they just recently released a 13-page Unearthed Arcana called Class Features, and it presents enhancements and alternatives to core class mechanics. And we are deep diving into our thoughts as experienced Dungeon Masters on what we think. And it's all subjective. None of us are developers, but we're having a good time, and we're getting some good feedback. So that's what we're doing today, because we couldn't have a session today because one of our key party members to the situation at hand could not make it. So we decided, instead of ignoring that character in a very crucial moment, we would just postpone, but we didn't want to not do anything, so we're doing this. If we get through the UA, we have some other stuff we might talk about. So that's what we're doing. For those of you just joining us, I'm looking at you, Iso. Yeah, so follow along. And you guys can download this document off of Wizards of the Coast. Just look up Unearthed Arcana Class Features. You should be able, or just look up Unearthed Arcana. It's the most recent Unearthed Arcana if you want to download and read along. Yes, I hear what you're saying. I think my biggest complaint with Deft Explorer, as far as in relation to Natural Explorer, is that Natural Explorer compared to Deft Explorer, like, if this were an option. Oh, and thank you for the link, Vegas. If we said, if your Dungeon Master says you can take Deft Explorer or Natural Explorer, you would be an idiot to take Natural Explorer because of how incredibly Deft Explorer scales. Natural Explorer has an upgrade at 6 and 10 that just adds a new terrain, which works for what it is, but compared to having fucking 35 climbing speed, it doesn't hold a candle. I think this is an overcorrection. I don't like it. I like the ideas here, but it's too much. And
too fast.
It's too much for a first level. It's too much for a 6th and 10th level. It's too much of an overcorrection. I think Natural Explorer, out of the two first level abilities, Natural Explorer was the one that could stay, whereas Favorite Enemy is so lackluster. So I think these are pretty stupidly powerful. I don't know. I
mean,
can't.
Tireless doesn't really scale, but
No, it does not. None of these scale, but the fact that you can get all three of them at 10th level is like a big deal.
yeah.
Especially Roving. Who wrote Roving and thought, yeah, that's fine, we'll put that in there. Someone who has been playing a ranger since they did D&D Next, and he's like, by George, I'm gonna make this class badass. I think we're all, Vegas, Natural Explorer is a situational thing that can be really good if the campaign allows it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Deft Explorer is just fucking good, and it's too good for a first level ability, especially as it's presented right now.
Yeah.
Think about it. Another first level ability is Second Wind. Tireless is like Second Wind on crack that you could do multiple times.
And it's temporary. It's not healing.
Yeah. And well, it does take your action, granted. However, and then on addition to that, you also have the exhaustion thing, which is nice, but like compared to other first levels, this is like just a way overshot. They missed the mark here. All right, so let's talk.
Tireless.
No, go ahead.
Just before we go on, the Tireless wins just with the exhaustion level being reduced at a short rest.
Like, yeah, that's pretty insane.
Oh my god, that's so OP. But
especially if I'm your dungeon master and I have a liberal application of exhaustion.
Yeah.
I like exhaustion.
Yeah, no, it's
yeah. I know.
All right.
A thing that they don't realize how important it is until you hit that second or third level exhaustion. Just like, we need to slow down.
We need to calm the fuck down. Yeah, I do think I'm, to use the term, I think I am harsher with exhaustion than most DMs. I own that, but I like it. I think it's a great, especially for a low magic setting, I think it's a great mechanic. All right, so the replacement for Favorite Enemy is Favored Foe. You can call on your Bond with Nature to mark a creature. I love Favored Foe. I know I just started reading it, but man, Favored Foe is the one to keep. Okay. You mark a creature as your favorite enemy for a time. You know the Hunter's Mark spell, and Wisdom is your spellcasting ability for it. You can use it a certain number of times without expending a spell slot and without requiring concentration, a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, a minimum of once. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. When you gain the spellcasting feature at second level, Hunter's Mark doesn't count against your number of ranger spells you know. Yes! Yes! Yes!
So, clarify if I'm reading this along with you correctly. They just took Hunter's Mark
And made it a class feature.
made it a class feature.
Yes.
I'm okay with it.
A better class feature because it's not concentration.
And you get it at first level.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier.
So when you do get access to spells at second level, you can then take, what is it, Hail of Arrows,
Hail of Thorns,
whatever, and use
I was a
that
ranger.
plus this. Oh, get out of here, son.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sign me up to play this ranger.
This alone makes Ranger, well, I wouldn't say like on par with other classes, but it makes it more, because everyone always says, oh, you hit second level, take Hunter's Mark. If you didn't take Hunter's Mark, you're playing it wrong.
Right, correct.
And just giving it to you at first level doesn't require concentration. Replacing favorite enemy, which is pretty lackluster. I mean, the only thing that's nice about favorite enemy really is like you get more languages if you're into that sort of thing.
One language, yep.
Yeah. Well, they tried to roll languages into the Deft Explorer, but it didn't pan out. I think this is a far superior, balanced, and welcomed replacement for favorite enemy, whereas Deft Explorer is an overcorrection.
Agreed.
Yeah. No, I might actually make this new like standard for rangers in my game.
Yeah, I'm on board saying, without a doubt, replace favorite enemy with favorite foe for any ranger that wants to play it.
Yep.
Most people need 8 hours of sleep. The players in Jaken's game need 23. I'm not that harsh.
So one of the builds that I've always done with Ranger that I've always had, so whenever you go Ranger, everyone's just like, are you going archery? And you're like, no. They're like, you're wasting it. With this ability, it allows you to turn your short swords that you're attacking 2 to 3 times with into great swords and not have to worry about concentration.
Yeah.
That is so badass.
Yes. Hunter's Mark probably, I think the only reason Hunter's Mark can't just become a class feature is because Vengeance Paladins use it. But it was always a mainstay of Ranger. It was always the assumed ability of Ranger that they were going to take it. And so just making it a class feature at level 1 without concentration, yes, perfect. All right. Next, they get access to the new fighting styles, which we will get to eventually. And they also get access to Druidic Warrior. So Druidic Warrior is just like Blessed Warrior, except they get Druid cantrips instead of Cleric cantrips.
Should have changed the name to Nature Warrior or something like that. Natural Warrior. So Druidic.
I think they just wanted to really hone in. The naming is insignificant, in my opinion, really. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Says Jaken, who was arguing over it being overtime.
Well, I mean, nature versus druidic is
just giving you a hard time.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you could rib me.
The only reason I say don't use druidic is it really makes it. So let's say you're playing a ranger and they haven't dealt with druids, but yet they want to choose the druidic. Like it ties it too much into the druid circle. Haha. As opposed to just being a ranger and being like, oh yeah, you know all this stuff because you're in tune with nature. That makes sense. You're a fucking ranger.
You sold me. I agree. They should have Druidic Warrior isn't the best choice.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, I think it's decent.
As for a fighting style, just like with Paladin, I am 100% on board with this.
I think it's good that it's there. I don't know if I'd ever run it. Because
Thornwhip, man.
Well, because Rangers are a D10 HP class, you're probably not going to be doing a lot of casting. But I guess with 2 cantrips, you could just make it your thing as you just cast.
Well, if you pick Shillelagh as one of
and
your
you just
cantrips,
go a thwopping,
and on someone that has your Hunter's Mark that you just cast for free with no concentration,
or you could take Savagery,
yeah,
and just walk up and fist people. All right, I know what I said.
Is phrasing a thing we're still doing?
Yeah, we're still doing phrasing. All right, so now Rangers get an expanded spell list. Look at them; they get Smite too.
They get Entangle.
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
I'd
They
rather
need
that than
Entangle.
Smite.
I like them getting Tangle. Most of these spell lists I'm okay with, except from a narrative standpoint, I don't like that they get magic weapon. Although if you're gonna give them smites, if you're gonna rob Paladin of their smites, I guess it goes with the territory. If you can smite, you can also magic weapon, right?
I also like what they pulled from the Druid list.
Meld into stone, dominate beast, awaken. Oh, they get awaken.
Yeah,
Son?
but
I don't like that they get Revivify.
Yeah, agreed. That's. I mean, I get that they were kind of trying to cross-pollinate Paladin and Ranger because they're the two on that caster progression, but
Did they give Paladin Revivify? I don't think they did.
Yeah,
Paladin has always had
sure they got-
Revivify.
Oh, okay. I also agree that I don't think Rangers should get Revivify. I think Rangers are good with dealing with things that are alive. Once they're dead, I don't think a Ranger has any domain. Not a fan of Revivify, not a fan of Magic Weapon, not a fan, of course, of the Smites, because you're robbing from my boy.
Poor Pallies.
Man,
The rest of it, except for Tongues. Tongues seems also a little misplaced.
No, I mean, you're used to being out in the wilderness, having to deal with a whole bunch of like potential races. That I'm okay
Right.
with.
And also because they got rid of the favorite enemy extra language.
Yeah,
It's a nice kind of slap that in there. Granted, it's a 3rd level spell, so you're not getting that until 9th.
9th level.
9th?
Yeah. 9th is when you get 3rd level as a half caster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I don't hate it. There's some stuff I don't like because, I'm just sticking out for the Paladins. Because the Paladin spell list is just like, look at me, I got spites, and that's about it. And then you just hand them out. All right. So no real problems there. Spell versatility. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace one spell you learn from this spellcasting feature with another of the Ranger spell list. This new spell must be the same level as the spell you replace. Same as the Bard, right?
Yeah, same as the Bard. And for Ranger, I also like that this one is a long rest and not a light. For Ranger,
Rangers only learn at 19th level and beyond. They cap at 11 known spells. So I think it's okay.
Across their 5 levels.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. All right, spellcasting focus. This one, I get why they did it, but I'm not a fan. For flavor reasons. You can use a Druidic focus as a spellcasting focus for your Ranger spells. See Chapter 5 Equipment for Player's Handbook for the list of things that count as Druidic focuses. I don't like this. Because
Why?
I liked that Rangers had to get components. I thought it made it more Tolkien-esque.
Okay.
Okay, from a class fantasy perspective, I can agree with that.
And just giving them the option to use Druidic focus makes sense in the world of D&D. But for me, I always liked that Rangers had like the rabbit's foot and like, the salve and, the random crap that they need to cast these spells because they're Rangers. That's kind of their thing. But then to just hold on a Druidic focus is just kind of, for me, it loses some of the narrative thrust of a already pretty pathetic class. I'm sure it's useful though. They were the only class. No, Paladins also don't get focuses, right?
No, they get
Holy
focuses.
Symbol. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They were the only class that didn't get a focus because bards get the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that about Rangers. When I played a Ranger, I enjoyed that flavor. I suppose I could ignore it and just be like, nah. Granted, this is optional material, so the Dungeon Master can be like, nah, and then you're back to the normal Ranger. But
It doesn't bother me that much because most people, when they play the Rangers, they're just like, oh, I got a spell component pouch. So it's in there. Like, there was no, like, even those that had a spell component pouch were like, oh, I pull out my gum of Arabic or whatever it is, and then use that. It was just like, oh, I'm going to just pull out the materials from my spell component pouch and cast a spell. Cool. So to me, them getting the focus isn't killing it for me because the Druidic focuses are Sprig of Missile, a like totem. Like there's pretty cool thematic things that they gain, that's okay with. I'm okay with it.
It's like when they, stripped abilities out of, like, when they cut the druid spell list in half in WoW, where it's like, yeah, I get it, and this is better, but man, I miss all those spells that you took away from me.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it is, That's the feeling, where it's like, yeah, this is better, but gosh, now I'm nostalgic. So yeah, probably for the best. All right, Primal Awareness replaces Primeval Awareness. So, real quick recap. Primeval Awareness, 3rd level. You can use your action to expend 1 ranger spell slot to focus your awareness on the region around you. For 1 minute per level of the spell slot you expended, you can sense whether the following types of creatures are present within 1 mile of you, or up to 6 miles if they're in your favorite terrain. Aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fays, fiends, and undead. This feature doesn't reveal the creature's location or number, just that they are present. I added that last line. So they are present. I like Primeval Awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how they replace it. Hold comments.
Yeah.
Primal Awareness. You can focus your awareness through the interconnections of nature. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels in this class if you don't already know them, as shown on the Primal Awareness spells table. These spells don't count against the number of spells that your ranger spells that you know, and you can cast each of these spells without expending a spell slot. Once you cast it, you can't just cast it again until you finish a long rest. And this is a host of spells, most of them to do with nature.
Except for Detect Magic.
Except for Detect Magic.
Yes. So why not?
Again, this is optional.
Yeah. Just to touch on the except for Detect Magic. Thematically, Detect Magic, I feel, kind of steps in for what Primeval Awareness was doing on a much more local scale. Because the whole point of Primeval,
locate animals or plants would be more.
Well, no, because
and then locate creature at 13th level.
Because Primeval Awareness was essentially you expend some of your spell energy to magically enhance your senses to detect things that don't probably belong.
Right. The list is
one
basically
of these things is not like the other.
Yeah.
I mean, the only creature on this list that is like normal is a dragon. The rest of them are abnormal entities, at least on the material plane. Fae, fiends, undead, celestials, aberrations. Yeah. I mean, we say undead are abnormal, but we all know they're everywhere. Yeah, I as an option, I think I'd rather take Primeval Awareness. Although some of these spells are pretty dope. It's just
the fact that you can cast them once without spending a spell slot. I mean,
but they trickle into your spell list so slowly. 3rd, 5th, 9th, 13th, 17th.
Yeah, but you're gaining them. Basically, what this is doing, I feel, is freeing up your spell selection. Spells that aren't ranger staples. Like if you're picking your spells from a purely narrative point of view, Beast Sense, Speak with Plants, Locate Creature, those are all ranger staples. This is just saying, okay, you get this ranger staple, pick something else that's gonna flesh out your.
Or you just get one extra use of it if you really want to rely on it. My thing about Primeval Awareness, from again anecdotal experience of having played a ranger, it is a problem solver or a puzzle solver, I should say, where you're especially in an urban environment. I did this to my brother when I was playing the ranger because he was the DM. Where we would have a mystery, and then I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to use Primeval Awareness on this creature. Like, we just learned that there's a demon around. Like, oh, I'm going to use Primeval Awareness on a fiend. All right, guys, it's within a mile. It's always been really handy. It's out of all the features that Rangers have gotten in the core curriculum, Primeval Awareness I've always found to be really handy.
Yeah.
I think it's okay as an option. If you don't like Primeval Awareness, take Primal Awareness. You get some sick spells.
And free castings of them. That's
Free
to me
that's the crux.
fact that really makes it. Yeah, that makes it stand out. Is the fact
and you get Detect Magic, which I don't think Rangers get access to normally.
Nope.
Okay, and then 10th level. The original one is Hide in Plain Sight. Starting at 10th level, you can spend 1 minute creating camouflage for yourself. You must have access to fresh mud, dirt, plants, soot, and other naturally occurring materials from which you create your camouflage. You get a plus 10 bonus to dexterity stealth, basically. As long as you remain still and don't take any actions. Once you take an action or a reaction, your camouflage, you must camouflage yourself to again. Now, I know why they replaced this. 1, it was really underwhelming as a 10th level ability. 2, they added, meld into stone as a spell.
Yeah.
As a 10th level, it's cool, but not as a 10th level ability. So let's see what they replaced it with. Fade away. You can use a bonus action to magically become invisible, along with any equipment you are wearing or carrying until the start of your next turn. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you finish a short or long rest. So it's basically they took the spirit of hide in plain sight and made it infinitesimally better.
Yep.
All right, carry on.
Yep.
Except for it's till the end of your next turn?
To the start of your next turn.
Starting your next turn, whereas with the hide and play sight, it makes a lot of narrative sense that your person that's been hunting out in the wilderness is good at making camouflage. That then you can then stack with pass without a trace. You get a plus 20 to your stealth roll.
Well, I think you can't move when you're doing hide in plain sight.
Correct. So you get there. Well, you put the thing up. Put your
ghillie suit
action
on.
to cast. Well, no, you'd have to use your action first to cast
Pass without trace.
Pass without trace. Then put on your ghillie suit and just hide, and you're rolling a d20 plus 20 plus whatever your normal bonuses are.
Yeah, you're right. Hide and plain sight is pretty dope. Again, I think as a 10th level, it's a little underwhelming, but as an ability, it's pretty cool. And this one is much more short term. Hide in plain sight feels like a sniper who's camping on a hill for days, peeing in a puddle next to him just to get that one shot to kill the bad guy. Or this one just seems like much more available. What I like about these options is that they are not necessarily better than what they're replacing, but I like that they're there to replace. That's my opinion. That's my take.
So, I'm going to throw in a little devil advocate myself.
All right.
Here, I'm going to read off what the errata version of plain sight is.
Oh, please do.
Starting at 10th level, you can remain perfectly still for long periods of time to set up ambushes. When you attempt to hide on your turn, you can opt to not move on that turn. If you avoid moving, creatures that attempt to detect you take a -10 penalty to their wisdom perception checks until the start of your next turn. You lose this benefit if you move or fall prone, either voluntarily or because of some external effect. You are still automatically detected if any effect or action causes you to no longer be hidden. If you are still hidden on your next turn, you can continue to remain motionless and gain this benefit until you are detected.
Okay,
so it's more of a
the errata is better because you don't have to spend a minute mudding yourself.
Yep.
The errata is better. All right. Well played, devil's advocate. Yeah. With the errata, I'd rather hide in plain sight. Vegas?
I'm good either way, honestly. I do like the errata. I am a fan of bonus action. I'm invisible. This is a combat situation. Now I come up around my opponent and attack with it.
What's interesting is it turns an environment ability into a combat ability.
Yeah. So I'm good with either. I could see picking one or the other depending on what sort of.
Sure. Yeah.
The reason I like especially the errata hide and play sight is it makes your ranger more of a hunter.
Yeah.
Which I think really, even the PHB version is you're still making a ghillie suit essentially, or camouflage, and then setting up an ambush. Whereas fade away is just like, oh crap, we're in the middle of combat. I'm invisible for a turn. Fuck you.
Yeah, the narrative thrust is gone with the replacement. You just turn invisible. How's that track? What are you, the Predator?
Plus, if we went with raw, which Jaken, you've experienced this with one of your earlier games. It doesn't say that it functions like any other invisibility, so action doesn't negate it according to the raw on this. It just says you turn invisible.
That's true. they still technically know where you are raw.
I mean, raw, they always know where you are
Right.
because invisibility is different. But I'm just saying, like, normally with your invisibility spell, making an attack would make you no longer invisible. That doesn't say anything about that.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
are
like-
not casting the invisibility spell as a bonus action. You are
Correct.
becoming magically invisible.
Right.
So you could attack and gain all the benefits of being invisible. Yeah.
And use extra attack.
It's quite powerful. Yeah. So it turns an environmental exploration ability into a combat ability.
Into you fighting fucking ghosts.
All right. Next. Oh no! Big wall of text. What could it be? Could it be enhances the Ranger's companion? This is what I was talking about when I was in Druid and I got tripped up. So what this does, from the skimming I did, is it allows you to basically replace your beast with a kind of primal beast, as they call it. So let's read. While wandering the wilds, I'm not going to read Ranger's Companion from the book. It's shit. Unless you have a pet that replaces you.
Yeah, that is way worse than you in every way possible.
But you have to sacrifice your actions for it to do anything with its crappiness. All right. While wandering the wilds, especially once you get magical items. God.
Yeah.
All right. While wandering the wilds, a ranger encounters many sorts of animals, some of which the ranger might befriend. I'm starting to lose my voice. This friendship can arise from a successful use of the animal handling skill or the animal friendship spell. If the resulting bond is strong enough, the animal might join the ranger on adventures. I should point out this is an enhancement, not a replacement. So you still have the shit beast companion. This is in addition to your shit beast companion.
Yep.
A ranger who has the Beastmaster archetype can form an even stronger bond. Are you saying you can do this without having the Beastmaster archetype? Because it says Beastmaster feature. Okay. Ignoring that, we'll move on. Feeling almost like a sibling to an animal. A special type of beast awaits a Beastmaster in the wilds, a creature whose lineage stretches back to the beginnings of the world, a primal beast known as a beast of the air or a beast of the earth. Such a creature seeks out the type of companionship that a Beastmaster offers, ready for the two of them to battle the imbalance in the natural world. The primal beast is a special creature that a Beastmaster can choose for the Ranger's companion feature. When choosing such a creature, you decide whether it is a beast of air or of the earth, and you determine its appearance. Stories describe primal beasts that mystically change form to align with the spirit of their companion. When a primal beast is met, apart from the Beastmaster, the creature takes the form of a regular beast of challenge rating 1/4 or lower, as determined by the DM. And then we have a stat block. That defines hit points and has an attack, but it's still a beast companion. It's kind of ambiguous.
Yeah.
So
Oh no, it says you can choose for your beast companion's feature. Okay, so it's actually not any better. It just has nice stats, but it's still replacing your actions. Oh, it has primal rebirth, so like it can't die. Oh, ready companion. As a bonus action, you can command the beast to make its shred attack or to hide. Well, at least you can use your bonus instead of wasting your action.
Yeah.
So it is better, marginally. Cool. Marginally better is better. The fact that you can use your bonus action to order to attack makes it already better. Yeah, I mean, I think this is one that I can't really talk about until I play test it. But any improvements to Hunter's Companion, Ranger's Companion is going to be welcome. Granted, I'm sure there's an errata change.
Yeah, this is completely different from what the errata has.
Okay.
And I'm not certain I like it.
Yeah, I can't really speak to it until I play it, honestly. Let me see if I fucking have the errata. Was it released as a UA?
I have the errata right here.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I have it on my computer or if I need to ask you for it.
So
Was it a UA?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
might have
while
it.
I can kind of read it because you've
Sure.
been doing it. So the errata version is at 3rd level, you learn to use your magic to create a powerful bond with a creature of the natural world. With 8 hours of work and the expenditure of 50 gold worth of rare herbs and fine food, you call forth an animal from the wilderness to serve as your faithful companion. Normally select your companion from among the following animals: an ape, a black bear, a boar, giant badger, giant weasel, mule, a panther, or a wolf. However, your DM might pick one of these animals for you based on surrounding terrain and on what type of creatures. At the end of the 8 hours, your animal companion appears and gains all the benefits of your companion's bond ability. You can have only one animal companion at a time. If it's ever slain, you can basically spend another 25 gold piece and 8 hours of work to bring it back to life. Then there's a bunch of stuff about talking about if you bring an animal back to life when you already have a companion, it just replaces it. Then
You get telefragged?
yeah, essentially. So your companion, one loses multi-attack if it has it, but it rolls for initiative like any other creature, but you determine its actions, decisions, attitudes, and so on. If you are incapacitated or absent, your companion acts on its own. When using your Natural Explorer feature, you and your animal companion, can both move stealthily at a pace. And then some of the stuff we can do is interesting. So your companion uses your proficiency bonus rather than its own. In addition to the areas where it normally uses its proficiency bonus, an animal companion also adds its proficiency bonus to its AC and to its damage rolls. So as you go up, it actually gets harder to hit and does more damage. It also gains proficiency in 2 skills of your choice. It also becomes proficient with all saving throws. And for each level you gain after 3rd, your animal companion gains an additional hit die and increases its hit points accordingly. Whenever you gain ability score improvement class, your companion's abilities also improve. You can choose, once again, 2 that increase by 1 or 1 that increases by +2. And it has the same thing where it can't go above 20. And yeah.
Is this class design variance?
I will link right now.
Yeah, I may not have it.
Where would be the best way to link this to you? Because I know you can't see the call.
It's all right. We don't need it right now because
Okay.
you just covered it, and it's fine. That sounds better than either option from the core book or from here.
Now here's just brief thoughts on that. I know, some of the Wizards devs on Twitter, some of them say there is no such thing as a variant ranger, essentially meaning that their variant ranger that they put out never got approved, so it doesn't exist. And some of them mean that the original ranger in their games doesn't exist.
You cut out. I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything after doesn't exist.
That the original ranger doesn't exist, and only the variant ranger now exists in their games. Now, if you were to use this companion with the original ranger companion, it makes it better because you can use your bonus action instead. If you use it with the quote unquote errata ranger, this makes a Beastmaster so much better because your beast is increasing as you level and you get to use your bonus action instead of your action. This plus the errata ranger makes the Beastmaster Ranger what I think of when I think of a Beastmaster Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we're all on board with it. Again, I because it's stat blocks, I want to playtest it, but it does seem like, and I would like to get that errata. You can just shoot it to me on Discord, and I'll pick it up after the stream.
Already done.
My man. So I think we're ready to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let's talk about rogues. They only get one damn thing.
That's all
right.
they need.
So I said earlier in the stream that paladins are one of the strongest class. I put forth, again from anecdotal experience of playing 5th edition since its release, well actually since D&D Next, that rogues and paladins are like tier 1 classes.
Agreed.
Well, PR does not have anything to say, so or
Yeah,
he's
no, I don't agree with that, at least for Rogue, but I mean, they're super niche, sure. That can, and in those super niche situations, tier 1, 100%. But I mean, a Rogue,
they're definitely in the top half of the 12
yes,
classes.
I'll
So
give you that.
rogues, let's say the consensus is rogues powerful. Yeah, rogues powerful.
Sure.
Yes.
So how do you make rogues better? Well, you give them a cunning action called aim. This is an enhancement, doesn't replace any of their other cunning actions. Cunning action, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a second level ability that lets you do a certain action as a bonus action. So this means this cunning action would be a bonus action. So when you use cunning action aim, you gain an additional way to use your cunning action, carefully aiming for your next attack. As a bonus action, which of course it is, you give yourself advantage on your next attack roll on the current turn. You can use this bonus action only if you haven't moved during this turn, and after you use this bonus action, your speed is 0 until the end of the current turn. Hot diggity damn, is this incredible.
Yep. Yep. This is especially good for ranged focused rogues.
This is good for either, but yes.
But it is still 117,000%.
If your DM
viable.
adds cunning action aim and you're a dual wielding rogue, stop it. Okay.
Yep. Drop your offhand and just poke them with your rapier. Just do it.
I mean, I can't see this for a melee at all.
Really?
Just because one of the things that make a rogue top tier when you're doing the melee is the fact that they get in, do their one attack,
disengage and get out.
And disengage and get out, so they aren't taking the hit. Because as soon as you get a hit or two on your rogue, yes, they have uncanny dodge, but that's burning their reactions. Like,
right.
It's just a bunch of costly stuff. So I can't see this being really that well for anything other than a ranged rogue.
I do think it's flavored for a ranged rogue, given it's called aim. Yeah.
I'm also just I find it funny because in my game that streams on Mondays, or once I figure out the streaming part, will stream on Mondays. One of the classes that I homebrewed is a rifleman, and they have an ability that is essentially this.
Oh.
Except for it's
you're in good company.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't use the bonus action though. You just forego your movement. Yeah.
I like it. Well, I think once you're done with the whelps phase and in an Nexia fight, it'd be very handy for melee rogues. AKA boss fights. You know, if you're in a boss fight and it's just we need to burn them down, run up there and do the aim. And again, it doesn't cost anything to
Can't run up there though.
Well, if you're already you're
already
already there, right? I do agree that for ranged rogues this is much. Okay, so I think you were doing this as well, Vegas, but a common ranged rogue tactic is I'm going to use my cunning action to hide, and then I'm going to shoot, so that I get advantage.
I did less of the hide. I did it occasionally, but I'd pop out from behind cover, shoot, use my bonus action to help because mastermind, and then pop back behind.
Okay,
cover.
so you were different, but I've had ranged rogues where that's like their entire thing is they use the cunning action to hide.
Yep.
And then fire with advantage. So I like aim because instead of having to have him roll his things and it's like it makes his turn really long, he's just like, I aim. It's like great, thank you. I like aim. I think it's really powerful because it's a rogue's ability. But I also think rogues were already doing it anyway. Especially ranged rogues. So I like it. I think it's a good addition. I think it's powerful, but not like making rogues any more powerful. Okay, I gotta tuck the toddler in real quick. So you guys want to pick up Sorcerer? I mean, I think Sorcerer... Yeah, I won't be able to scroll. So you guys want to talk about I got the spell list on the screen. So you guys want to talk about the spell lists while I'm gone?
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Thank you, guys.
I mean, go for it. It's all you.
Okay, well, so of all the straight casters, I think sorcerer, other than wizards, which we'll get to, wizards kind of got, or sorry, wizards, sorcerers kind of got shafted for these spells. They are essentially getting one spell a level, not all the levels, and other than first and second, where they get 2 spells added, yeah, they really, I don't know why they added some of these in. Like primal savagery, I can see only if you are a dragon, like blood for your origin.
Remind me what primal savagery does again, just
Uh,
briefly.
that is a you make a melee weapon attack as you grow claws that deal a d12 acid damage, scaled because it's a cantrip. So 2d12, 3d12.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that being primarily draconic, but like in the Dire Roll Rejects, I played a shadow sorcerer. I could see a shadow sorcerer using that too, just because flavor.
For what?
Mhm. Primal savagery.
They got primal savagery? Oh shit.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I do agree. Like the rest are why? Or why not more?
Yeah. Why
I
not
think-
more is more.
I think the Vampiric
More
Touch
so
for me immediately jumps out because it's the only 3rd level spell. But it just seems like not I mean, I guess maybe Shadow, but even then,
I mean, you could play it off as the wild magic because you're just siphoning life force from one side to the other.
yeah, okay.
So I'm kind of on that. There's no spell on here that I'm like, what the hell are they doing with this? Except for maybe protection from good and evil. But
Yeah,
even
that
then,
one's a
that
little
kind of
weird.
makes sense that they. No, I mean,
That one doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
And then giving him foresight at 9th, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
That one seems in flavor with someone naturally attuned to magic. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Demiplane is alright. 8th level spells are all 8th and 9th level spells are all kind of crazy. Flesh to stone. Okay. And then a bunch of fire related stuff.
Yeah, but that ties in with another feature later on.
Yeah. This spell list is peculiar, but I don't think it's necessarily like wrong.
Yeah.
It is also like one of the only spell lists on here that didn't fucking rob paladins. So
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Spell versatility. When you finish a long rest, we've read this before. It's the same one as cleric, the same one as bard. No, it's the same one as bard, and it's the same one as
And ranger.
Yeah. Again, sorcerers have a pretty narrow spell list, so if it works for them, it works for them. All right. I actually got confused the first time I read this because I've never played a sorcerer before. You know, admission time. I've DM'd them many times. I just never actually played them. So I forgot that Font of Magic and Meta Magic were different. So, first they added some options for Font of Magic. Currently, the only thing you can do with Font of Magic, and this isn't like
Spells the sorcery points and sorcery points the spells.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Now you can spend sorcery points to do one of the following. You can make an ability check. When you make an ability check on your turn, you can spend 2 sorcery points to gain advantage on that check.
That's pretty hefty for just advantage.
Yeah. Well, so
think, huh?
wild magic, wild sorcs get that without the sorcery point cost. I think this is just them saying, "Hey, we know everyone likes this, so we're going to give it to all sorcerers, putting a cost on it." I agree. 2 sorcery points is too much for it, though.
Yeah,
like
it seems a
one
little
sorcery
underwhelming
point?
for 2. I concur. All right, imbuing touch. As an action, you can touch one non-magical weapon and spend 2 sorcery points to imbue it with magic for 1 minute. For the duration, the weapon is considered magical for the purposes of overcoming immunity and resistance to non-magical attacks. I mean, I like it. I don't know where it lines up with sorcerer, but as an ability, I like it.
Yeah. And I'm okay with the 2 sorcery points for this one.
I have to say, I think 1 sorcery point for this one should also be a thing. Just because the only thing you're gaining from this for a minute is the ability to overcome immunity and resistances. That's it. You're not getting any extra damage, any extra attacking.
Yes.
And that's with your sorcerer who is now attacking with it doesn't have to be theirs, but I mean, you can grant someone in your party like the ability. So I mean, I don't for as many or as few sorcery points you gain.
Well, you get one per level, basically. Whatever your level is,
Yeah.
that's how many you have.
Yeah.
I think mid to late game, this is going to be 2 to make a magic item. If you still don't have magic items on your fighter, then it's nice. But in the early game, it is very costly.
Yeah.
But also in the early game, I'm kind of opposite of you. I think the early game is where
you would need this.
Yeah, where the 2 sorcery points kind of make sense. I mean, a little is the fact that for the 2 sorcery points, which let's say you did it at second level, that's all your sorcery points for that day are now just being like, okay, my one fighter or whatnot can now attack this creature
for 1 minute.
Yeah.
I wish it lasted. I think the only thing I would change is make it last like an hour.
Or even just 1 sorcery point for 1 minute. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
It does seem pretty short for the cost. All right.
Needs to rebalance.
Yeah. I mean, we could playtest it. It could be really powerful. I know that right now in our campaign, Enfrost, if Akulu had this ability, it would probably get used a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Sorcerer's Fortitude. As an action, you can spend any number of sorcery points to roll a d4 for each point expended. You gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the total rolled.
I am 100% on board with that. That is probably the coolest font of magic option.
Yep. Love it.
I think it's cool. I don't think it's great, but it'd probably get a lot of traction. And I like that you're not limited to how many times you can do it per day. You're just burning your resources to do it, and it's not a lot of hit points. Sorcerer is one of 2 d6 classes for hit points, so yeah, making them a little swole, cost an action and resources. I don't have any problems with it. It'd probably get played.
Yep.
All right, meta magic options. So meta magic are when you use sorcery points to enhance spells. The first one on this list is Yes. Elemental spell. When you cast a spell that deals a type of damage from the following list, you can spend 1 sorcery point to change that damage type to one of the other listed types. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder. Yes. Slay, queen. Slay. This is awesome.
Yeah. Draconic sorcerers have been wanting this forever.
That and any sorcerer, especially if you're playing with feats. You take the elemental adept.
Yep.
And you just yeet. I love it.
And honestly, 1 sorcery point to change a damage type, it seems super appropriate.
See, the way I'm on board with this. I'm with you guys. I'm 100% on board with it. I see it more so not someone like going the elemental mastery or the meta magic, or not the meta mastery, the feats for it.
Right.
But more so like your sorcerer that's maybe all fire.
Right. Your pyromancer.
Yeah, your pyromancer now can actually do something if you come across anyone that's immune to fire. Instead of, you chose all fire, so I mean that's kind of on you. You should have branched out, but you just sit there and do nothing for this entire fight.
Or I can just start doing thunder damage. Fuck you. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I want this, and I want to play a sorcerer just so I can say to the DM, I need everyone in this 20-foot radius to make a dex save against my Thunderball. That's it.
No, it's the Thunderdome.
I don't care.
Who runs this down?
Master Blaster. I've seen that movie.
I was going to say Girls, but that was the wrong reference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Queen Bee is never the wrong reference. Let's get that out of the way.
That's fair.
You know, we go to a CD exchange, which is like a movie and CD kind of like halfway house. I know I use that word in LPRs. It's like you use DVDs and CDs. I was trying to be facetious, and then I threw you off. Well, anyway, we go there because I do a bad movie night once a month with my friends and family, so I grab lots of bad movies from there. Well, my wife has never seen Road Warrior, so I'm like, cart. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. We still haven't seen it because we don't have any time to watch movies, but someday she will see Road Warrior. and she will finally get all the references that I make to Road Warrior. Oh, and apparently now I have to watch Happy Gilmore. Alright, next one, Seeking Spell. When you cast a spell that requires you to make a spell attack roll or that forces a target to make a dexterity saving throw, you can spend 1 sorcery point to ignore the effects of half and 3/4 cover against the targets of that spell.
So this is the spell sniper feat, but you don't have to take the feat.
Yeah. The problem I have with this one is because metamagic is not... You have to pick which metamagics you want. And I can't see anyone gunning for this one, because how often is cover a thing? Granted, if you're actually playing rules as written, if anyone's in melee, they basically have cover. And I recently started redoing that. Because I remembered my house rule was allies don't grant cover to enemies, but then my brain eventually just deleted the cover rule, and I'm trying to reapply it to my games. If you're trying to shoot a goblin who's behind another goblin, he has half cover.
And then, well, I mean, you can still, because they're also like the cover itself can get attacked. So I mean,
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I use cover. Cover actually frequents in my game quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I should use it more. It's just one thing I don't keep track of. And that's on me. That's a person thing.
Because cover also grants, well, as they
AC.
mentioned, and bonuses to your dex saves.
Yes, it's all around good.
Yeah.
So this spell, I guess if you're in my games, you probably don't need it. But if you're in PR's games, you probably take it. This meta magic. Next, I think it's great. I mean, it's there. I don't know who would grab it because you only get so many meta magics, but I think it's a great option. Anything else?
Cool.
No.
Cool. Unerring Spell. If you make an attack roll. If you make an attack roll for a spell and miss, you can spend 2 sorcery points to re-roll the attack roll. You must use the result of the second roll. You can use Unerring Spell even if you have already used a different metamagic option during the casting of the spell. Very good, very good. I like it.
Yeah,
Yep.
like it.
I kind of wish there was a variant for save or it was all rolled into one for save or suck spells as well.
Yeah.
But you can only give sorcerers
like,
too much.
To make them like re-roll, or
yeah, but you can only give sorcerers so much edge over other spellcasters, right? So Unerring tracks.
I would for that kind of situation, instead of like they would re-roll, I'd maybe say spend a number of sorcery points equal to the level of the spell to have them take half damage on a save.
Well, most save or suck doesn't do damage.
Yes. Oh no.
There are some, like I think Disintegrate is one.
Disintegrate's one.
They're a handful. Not enough to warrant a whole meta magic, is what I'm saying. I think we're on the same page, but also it's probably not necessary.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it for sorcerers. I can't. Their spell list is weird. Otherwise, it's a very good list.
Yeah.
Warlock.
Okay, I just want to interject right here.
Yeah, do it.
Warlock. I have a character that I play in. I originally built as a warlock, planning towards something, and then looked at their spell list and went, I can't play this as a warlock. So I rebuilt the character as a wizard. And now, with this, just with the spell list alone...
Is the spell you were wanting Animate Dead?
Yes, it is. Because my Dwergar...
Necromancer, yeah.
Necromancer is now going back to a warlock pact of the undying patron. Pact of the Tome warlock.
I don't know what Undying Patron is. Is that UA?
It is not.
It's from the Skag.
Yeah,
I really need to get Skag.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it for Christmas. That's how I get all my books. Is my father-in-law buys me D&D books for Christmas, and I'm gonna get Skag. All right. Here's my problem with Animate Dead.
Why you gotta shit over my phone?
Oh, first let's talk about spell versatility. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace one spell you learn from your pack magic feature with another. Yeah, it's the same one from the other ones. It tracks because again. They have a very small spell list. All right, on to the Warlock spells. Here's my problem with Animate Dead. It is presumed that all your magic comes from your pact, right?
Yes.
Granted, the case I'm about to make is already kind of nullified by the spell list in general. Because they have a universal spell list, this argument doesn't really hold water, so I'm just saying it for my own sake. But I don't think certain patrons would give you the ability to animate dead.
Agreed.
But the Universal Warlock spell list already has a bunch of spells that's like, I don't think this person would give you that ability. So under that pretense, it's probably okay. I do think it's cool that they can finally animate dead. They can't. Can they create it? Can they create undead? They can create homunculus. But they can't create undead. So they just get to animate dead. They're like a half necro.
My biggest issue, honestly, when building the character is that I looked at the spell list, and then I looked at the here's your expanded list that you can pick from, and the Undying Patron doesn't have animate dead. Like that change could have been made, but now I am happy. I am happy to turn him back into a warlock.
I'm also very glad that they get Magic Jar because Warcraft.
Yes.
They also get greater invisibility.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was say, I just think Animate Dead and whatnot are just trash spells.
Animate Dead is not that great. It's more of a fun thing than a good spell.
Because if you go by the raw, you could cast Animate Dead on an ogre, but it uses the stats of the skeleton or zombie from the monster manual.
Yes. Not
the undead or not the zombie ogre or whatnot, but the regular medium size. So you can take a goblin, make it a medium sized skeleton. Take an ogre, make it a medium sized skeleton.
Or go the other route and animate a rat zombie
into a medium sized zombie. Yeah.
Yes, rules are written. It's a little lackluster. I agree. Unfortunately, if you homebrew it too hard, then you get power gamers like, for the duration of the spell, I now have a dragon at 3rd level cast.
Oh, dragon skeleton or zombie.
Right.
Which, okay, if you're gonna kill a dragon
just to animate it, yeah,
I'm okay with that.
All right, that's fair. All right,
you gotta put in the work to make it dead.
So it's cool that they get animate dead. Also, animate dead isn't that great. Moving on.
Yes.
Eldritch Invocation options. I haven't read these because there's a lot, and this is like the bulk of the remaining document. Do you guys want to go through each one?
Hell yeah.
All right. So if for those of you who don't know, Eldritch Invocations are basically like a suite of a la carte class features that the Warlock gets access to. Here we go. Bond of the Talisman, prerequisite 12th level Pact of the Talisman feature. I believe,
which I've never heard of.
Did we skip over Pact of the Talisman?
No, it's down below. It's a pact. It's the pact.
Okay, Pact of the Talisman is a new pact that they added. So
yep.
So we should probably read that first, actually, just so we know how it interacts. All right, so let's talk Pact of the Talisman. So this is a 4th pact option. I don't know if Skag added a 4th of so.
No.
Nope.
Okay, so this is a 4th pact option. You have Tome, Chain, Blade. Now you have Talisman. Your patron gives you a special amulet, an amulet that can aid you or anyone else who wears it when the need is great. When the wearer makes an ability check with a skill that they lack proficiency in, they can add a d4 to the roll. If you lose the talisman, you can perform a 1-hour ceremony to make a new one. The talisman turns to ash when you die.
Okay.
On its own, kind of lackluster in comparison to the other packs.
Yes. But ignoring the other packs, it's very neat.
Yeah. And when you get into the invocations, it becomes comparable to the other pacts.
Which isn't a good thing. You shouldn't need more to be on par.
Well, yes, but at the same time,
it's a different option.
If you're say you're building a Pact of the Tome, there are some tome specific invocations that are like almost required reading. Same thing with Blade. Chain,
right.
not so much.
All right, let's get back to the invocations. But I want to give PR first impressions of Pact of the Talisman before we get to the invocations.
I actually like it. I'm not gonna lie.
I like it too.
The D4 on stuff that you're not proficient with is really interesting. And as mentioned, some of the invocations that you can get here are just so nice with that.
Okay, man, let's do that. So the first one is Bond of the Talisman, which is 12th level Pact of the Talisman feature. While someone else is wearing your talisman, you can use your action to teleport to an unoccupied space closest to them, provided the two of you are on the same plane of existence. I haven't read these before. The wearer of the talisman can do the same thing using their action to teleport with you. Okay, I'm sold. Holy shit, this is awesome. That's...
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's neat as all hell.
I know it's 12th level, so it's pretty deep in there, but like, holy shit, that's so cool. And you can just do it.
Yep. Distance limitations? Oh, same plane of existence.
Same plane of existence, yeah.
That's fine. Whatever.
I hear a lot of future DMs going, wait, you can do that? Fuck, my whole session's ruined. All right, that's awesome. I think we're all in agreement. That's the dopest shit I've read so far. Chain Master's Fury, 9th level, Pact of the Chain. As a bonus action, you can command your familiar to make one attack. I've never played a Warlock. I haven't played a lot, I think. I stick to the same, like, 6 classes, and the other 6 I ignore. I assume this is good.
This is good.
Okay.
Yeah, this is good.
Normally, it's your AR action to command them.
Oh, so it's like a shitty, like a ranger.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Eldritch Armor, prerequisite Pact of the Blade. As an action, you can touch a suit of armor that isn't being worn or carried by anyone and instantly don it, provided you aren't wearing armor already. You are proficient with the suit of armor until it's removed. That is mad dope.
Especially for a blade lock.
Oh my god.
New Guy is saying in Twitch chat that the companion you get with the familiar is still not very strong, but it's still a good thing for them to have.
Yeah,
it's a bonus action extra attack. So if it's viable, you'll take it. That's the thing about invocations is it's a la carte. So a
couple of things that make it really broken.
What, the Eldritch Armor?
No, the Chain Master's Fury.
Okay.
Pseudo Dragon and a Sprite. Which are both things that you can get from the Pact of the Chain. So with the Sprite, whenever they only does 1 damage, but then they have to make a con save or fall asleep for like an hour.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And then Pseudo Dragon has poison. So I mean, like.
Oh yeah, okay. I can see how it's quite good. New Guy, I think you're picking the wrong. Oh, actually, you did last time you played Warlock. You did a Pseudo Dragon. All right, so Eldritch Armor is pretty good, and it doesn't have a level cap, which I like.
Nope.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you ran this, you'd be the guy carrying a suit of plate armor on your back everywhere you go. And then battle starts and you're like,
well, no, you just plop it on after you have breakfast.
That's true. It doesn't have, as long as you use this thing to put it on and you are proficient with it, there's no time limit. Yeah. I also really like the idea, because you're going to be Eldritch Blasting, that you just literally Iron Man into your plate armor.
Yeah.
You touch it and it just assembles onto you, and then you start doing hand blasts. I love it. New Guy's defending himself. Hey, that's fair. All right, Eldritch Mind, Pact of the Tome feature. You have advantage on Constitution saving throws that you make to maintain your concentration on a spell. Yeah.
Half of Warcaster.
Half of Warcaster. And again, we gotta assume that not everyone's playing with feats. Because 1/3 of the people here sometimes don't play with feats. I think it's all right. There's no level cap. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Far Scribe. Prerequisite 5th level, Pact of the Tome. A new page appears in your Book of Shadows. I'm already intrigued. With your permission, a creature can use its action to write its name on that page, which can contain a number of names equal to your charisma modifier to a minimum of 1. You can cast Descending Spell targeting a creature whose name is on the page without using a spell slot and without using material components. To do so, you must write the message on the page. The target hears the message in its mind, and if the target replies, their message appears on the page rather than in your mind. The writing disappears after 1 minute. As an action, you can magically erase a name on a page by touching the name on it. This is so cool.
This is a far less lethal Death Note book.
This is cool. I like this a lot.
I'm iffy on the fact that it's 5th level.
It is 5th level, but it has no range limitation. They can be on a different plane of existence, and you guys can exchange notes in class.
Yeah.
What do you think, PR?
This is such a cool invocation. There are so many things that you could do with this from both a player and a DM standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you start all of a sudden someone's name after a night of debauchery or whatnot. Someone else
there's someone's name
in
there.
And then messages start arriving. You're just like, what the hell did I get into?
And you can maintain player agency with that, because if they really don't want to play this game, they just have to touch it and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Elenia
says, "Don't trust it; it's a Horcrux."
Or as new guy is saying, "Hey Vegas, write your name in here." 1 hour later, writes "poopy bum water" repeatedly. Yeah, I'm going to use my action, and oh wait, I can't erase it.
Yeah,
never mind.
Yeah, you just have to be willing to put your name on it. But once the name's on it, he can just sending spell you infinitely. I mean, there will like a DM could say, "Listen, you've run out of room on the page. You wrote bum water, poopy bum water so many times in the last minute that you've run out of room." But anyway, let's move on. So far, Warlocks are getting a lot of fucking cool shit.
Yeah.
Gift of the Protectors. So this is 9th level Pact of the Tome. You know, you guys were talking up the Talisman. So far, all we got was the Bond. Not that I'm complaining. Alright, so back to Gift of the Protectors. 9th level Pact of Tome. A new page appears in your Book of Shadows. I see what you're doing here. With your permission, a creature can use its action to write its name on the page, which you can contain a number of names equal to your Charisma modifier minimum 1. So it's the same paragraph to start with. When any creature whose name is on that page is reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, so not new guy in the not who was in the one shot that just got yeeted, Jared. The creature magically drops to 1 hit point instead. Once this magic is triggered, no creature can benefit from it until you finish a long rest. As an action, you can magically erase a name on the page by touching a name on it. 9th level. I like it. I just don't know. 9th level seems pretty steep, but it is like a get out of dead free card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what I really like is most people who play Warlocks are dicks. And so I could just see them having the whole party write their names on there and then like whispering the DM, "I touch so-and-so's name." Fuck that guy in particular. Fuck the paladin in particular.
Yep.
It has traction. It's definitely going to see play. I like it.
So the thing that really kind of jumps about that is it takes the Warlock and starts to make them actually be slightly kind of a healer, because they also got life transference, which
they got life transference? I missed that.
Yeah. So you can have this Gift of the Protectors going where like, someone's going to drop to 0 and then also be able to sacrifice some of your own vigor. I mean, you're a Warlock. You're probably in the back. 120-foot Eldritch Blasts.
While you're Iron Manning it up?
Yeah, while you're Iron Manning it up. So you could, be keeping an eye, like, it's a really interesting take on, like, a more primal healer. So, like, someone that you would go to in the woods as, like
a witch?
Yeah.
Well, on another route from that, this is also super appropriate for Celestial Patron Warlock.
Isn't the Celestial Patron already a healer, though?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So this just adds...
Sorry, I got distracted. I'm looking at the normal invocations, trying to see if there's one that lets you fly, so I can be Iron Man. Oh, I'm in another universe. There is one that lets you levitate, guys. We're there. Yeah, I really like this. I like the potential, and it does kind of make them more support class. This one, as a bit of support element.
Yep.
And also, it has a lot of roleplay abilities. Like, yeah, it's cool. Cool shit. All right, investment. I think this is finally going to get people to stop taking Pact of the Blade. We found it. We did it.
I have yet. No, that's not true. I made a Warlock Paladin. Never mind.
Investment of the Chain Master. Pact of the Chain feature. Well, okay. When you cast Find Familiar, you infuse the summoned familiar with a measure of your eldritch power, granting the creature the following benefits. The creature gains a flying speed or a swimming speed of your choice for 40 feet, because some of them already have flying speed. The familiar no longer needs to breathe. That's neat. The familiar's weapon attacks are considered magical for the purposes of overcoming immunity and resistance to non-magical attacks. Also neat. If the familiar forces a creature to make a saving throw, it uses your spell save DC.
Tying back into the
To
pseudo-dragon.
and
Or
the...
Yeah.
Whew,
Yep.
and that's
Go to
it.
sleep.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Holy shit. Look,
Yeah.
here's my little familiar.
Say
Time to-
hello,
oh my God.
little friend.
I just realized this doesn't have a level cap.
Nope.
Fuck.
Yep.
All right. Man, Warlocks are getting a lot of love in this packet. Holy crap.
Yeah.
All right. And then we got the last two are Talisman, so I'm excited. Protection of the Talisman. When the wearer of your talisman makes a saving throw in which you lack proficiency, they get to add a d4 to the roll.
So just like the skill checks.
Yeah. It's prerequisite 9th level. That seems a little
Yeah.
steep.
Yeah, the fact that it's a D4 kind of sucks.
Well, yeah, I think the prerequisite 9th level is the only real drawback here. Because,
Well,
like,
I mean-
9th level...
Yeah, if it was like a higher D, like a D8 or something.
Well,
or
no,
even,
or if it was just no level prerequisite, keep the D4. You can take it on your first invocation to really
Yeah.
spruce it up. Yeah, the 9th level is kind of hanging it up because it's only a D4. Granted, if you have like a paladin in the party and then you hand this off to somebody, they're never going to fail a save. All right,
Yeah.
last one. Rebuke of the Talisman. Pact of the Talisman feature. No level requirement. When the wearer of your talisman is hit by an attacker you can see within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to deal psychic damage to the attacker equal to your charisma modifier and push it up to 10 feet away from the talisman wearer. Ooh. Spicy.
And no max number of times per day.
Elenia says, I think it's only a D4 because their efficiency bonuses go that high, do they? The highest proficiency bonuses go is +6. But that's deep into the levels. It starts at 2, ends at 6. So if it was a D8, then yes, you would be better. You on the chance of a roll, you would actually be better than. Yeah, I think the reason they stack a D4 is because unless you roll a 1, it's actually better than low level proficiency. But this is 9th level we're talking about, which I think proficiency bonus at 9th level is a +3
still.
It's still 3.
Yep.
Okay. It's kind of average. Yeah. I think the protection of the talisman is good. I just don't like the 9th level cap on it. That's my only problem. The rebuke of the talisman is pretty dope. At first, as I was reading, I'm like, it only does charisma modifier damage, but then the push 10 feet away, that has legs. Especially if the enemy used their movement to get up to somebody. They swat them. You give them a little psychic damage and you bite them away. Oh, and it's in any direction. You can do For Honor ledges on this bitch.
Yep.
Granted, it's a forced movement, so they do to get a check, right, to grab a ledge.
I don't recall the specific rules around that. I would say DM.
I don't. Yeah,
I
I
would
think that's DM fiat.
Okay, I'll have to reread the PHP. For now, I assume you guys are correct. All right, and that's it. That's Warlocks. Man, out of everyone in this packet, Warlocks came out looking pretty.
Well, and what I like about it is that the only thing they modified for Pact of the Blade was to give them armor, which is a super benefit for blade locks.
God, blade hex blades are gonna be so fucking annoying.
But you made a good point with your whole, how do we make people want to play something other? This is how.
Yeah,
Because everything else in here is beautiful.
Yeah, it makes your familiar dope. your tome is so much. Oh, I'm in love with the tome stuff. Those 2 tomes ones. Oh, I want them. All right.
Well, tome was neat to begin with, and now it's just like, oh, this is even neater. This is even creepier.
I like it.
It's
Now
tied into the you don't have to sleep anymore one. That's such a good indication.
These 2 invocations make me want to play a tome warlock. Like, I've never played a warlock before. Now I want to play one just for. Or forget that. Go Blade and make my Iron Man.
Your Iron Man.
Yeah, but I think that's just a joke build. All right. You guys ready to talk about wizards?
Yeah.
Only no, not quite yet. Only if you're playing an Iron Man Warlock, you have to Stank.
I'm sorry, you cut out.
Tony Stank.
All right.
That's a that's a really good Marvel reference.
Yep.
From one of the movies.
It's a Stan Lee cameo.
Yep.
He calls him Tony Stank.
Yeah, when he's delivering package to him.
Delivery for Tony Stank.
War.
Oh.
Fucking War Machine is like, yes, this is him. Stank.
I missed that. Was that from 3?
No, that was from Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
Oh. End of Civil War. Well, Stanley, rest in peace. We miss you.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Wizard. We're going to give it the same amount of love and attention that Wizards of the Coast gave it. All right, we're done. All right. So Wizards get the cantrip versatility, which means they can swap out cantrips every time they level up.
Love it.
And then they get 4 spells.
4 fucking spells.
But you know what? They do get 2 divination spells, which is very welcome.
Yeah.
Because divination wizards have been like, I have so few spells, and they get speak of dead.
Have such a great school feature and so few spells.
So the fact that they added 2 divinations, great. And then we're done. That's it. That's all. Wizards got cantrip versatility and 4 spells.
Yep.
Oh, good night, new guy.
Why?
Oh,
Why
and high enabling board too.
Why not give them, like, if you're not going to give them any, like, I understand the not giving them any abilities or anything like that, because they're usually pretty good, and then when you factor in the Blade Singer, how broken that is, I mean, I understand why they're trying to step away from them, but why not expand their spell list more than 4 fucking spells?
Now, wait a minute. When you say Blade Singer and broken, what you mean is Blade Singer and amazing, right?
Yes, that is 100%.
I need to get Skag.
Yes, you do.
What happened, Wizards? Why did you let down Wizards? Wizards. For those of you just joining, we're going through the class features Unearthed Arcana that was released last week.
Mm-hmm.
And we are almost done. Which is fine, because the stream is almost done. Wow, this took 4 hours. Holy shit.
Yep.
I had other stuff I wanted to talk about.
I told you.
Yeah, so that's it. That's Wizards. Man, they got done dirty. Almost as dirty as Paladins getting robbed.
Yep.
So like, yeah, Wizards are the beggar on the street corner, and in the alley is is the Paladin face down in the trash.
Pretty much.
All right, and that's it. Now the only thing left, which isn't is now the fighting styles that they added, including martial versatility. Whenever you gain a level in a class that has a fighting style feature, you can replace a fighting style with another style available to your class. They're adding a lot of these versatilities, and I have the same thing to say about all of them. I guess it's needed for Adventures League. But at my table, if you really wanted to swap, you can just do it. Granted, this one is, if I were letting someone change their fighting style, it would probably be like a one-time thing. But this is like literally every time you level up, it's like, oh, fuck it, I'm done using two-handed weapons, time to do this. It's a little insane. But, I mean, it goes along with all the other versatility they added, so.
Yeah. I like it. It's a welcome change.
I have no qualms with it one way or another. I don't.
Okay. And they added 4 new fighting styles. 4 new. I was right. Okay. First is blind fighting. This one is so niche, but I love it. Being unable to see a creature doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack rolls against it, provided the creature isn't hidden from you. I don't think anyone would ever take that, except maybe a champion as their second option. But or you're playing like a human, and it's like, this is an Underdark campaign. It'd be like, give me blind fighting. You would. What's your take on it?
Well, one, as you just hit on, anyone without dark vision, so human, halflings, dragonborn. Anytime you're going to be fighting anyone that's invisible, or stuff like that. I mean, that's also a good thing. Because just because they're invisible, they are not hidden from you.
Yes,
So,
rules is written, they are not hidden. Yeah.
and then, I mean, you couple that with the alert feat, and you're dead. You're Daredevil essentially.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I fight by hearing.
It is viable. I don't know. Again, if you're playing someone who doesn't have dark vision and you know you're going into dark places, especially since you can swap it out at every level.
Daredevil or Donnie Yen in Rogue One.
Yeah, that would be another good one.
You'd have to find a weird space bow. But anyway.
Staff.
Staff bow?
Yeah.
It's a bow staff! I'll see myself out. Alright, interception. When a creature you can see hits a target that is within 5 feet of you with an attack, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage the target takes by 1d10 plus your proficiency bonus. Interesting. You must be wielding a shield or a simple or martial weapon to use this reaction. So, it's kind of like protection, yeah?
But instead of disadvantage, you're just reducing their damage taken. I think this one's better than protection, honestly, because with protection they might still get hit. This one is okay, they got hit, let me just go ahead and reduce the damage.
And you don't have to have a shield for interception.
Right.
And it's
you could be using a weapon, which I don't know. I think that's kind of weird. It's like the basic rule is like, yeah, you can use whatever, just don't have an empty hand.
Yeah, as long as you have something in one of your hands.
Yeah.
Well, it does specify simple or martial weapons, so you can't use improvised. You can't block it with a chair.
That is true.
Unacceptable.
We need an Areta. You need to be able to do it with a chair.
Yep. Now, if you take Tavern Brawler, that makes
you makes it proficient, but they're still not considered simple.
They are still considered improvised. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
No, unacceptable. This entire document is trash just because of that.
Yep.
I like it. I don't hate it. I like it. And it uses reaction. You can use it every once per turn. All right. Thrown weapon fighting.
Finally.
This is where fighters get it fun. You can draw a weapon that has a thrown property as part of the attack you make with the weapon. AKA, how many hand axes can I throw this turn? Well, how many hands do you have? In addition, when you hit with a ranged attack using a thrown weapon, you gain a +1 bonus to the damage roll. Oh man, that's dope.
Yeah. For the build it's intended for, beautiful. I think it stacks up against other fighting styles just nicely.
The build you're talking about is the Warcraft 2 Troll. That's the build you're talking about?
Well, let's hold on. Let's go back to you. Unless you're a champion and you take blind fighting as your second fighting style, we're gonna combine that with PR's Daredevil reference.
And you're just thwopping dudes.
Yep.
I love it.
Done.
I love it. Oh, are we making our Marvel superheroes team? We got Iron Man, Warlock. We got Daredevil, Fighter.
Yeah. This could be done. Yes.
Come watch us play Marvel properties in D&D.
And then we don't. It doesn't matter what class you are, but if you have the Hammer of Thunderbolts, you're Thor.
Well, no. Thor absolutely is a. I don't remember the class. Barbarian, multi-classed into Storm Sorcerer.
Why don't you just be a Storm Herald?
That's the Barbarian one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he's more of a Storm Cleric, a Tempest Cleric, because the Tempest Clerics can fly.
Yeah, so I'll give you that.
Granted, Thor technically can't fly. It's his Mjolnir that flies. Yeah. Even though he can hover. Whatever. I guess that makes sense. All right, and last but not least, unarmed fighting. Your unarmed strikes can deal bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier. If you strike with 2 free hands, it becomes a d8. When you successfully start a grapple, you can deal 1d4 bludgeoning damage to the grappled creature. Until the grapple ends, you can also deal this damage to the creature whenever you hit with a melee attack. Fucking dope.
So remember what I said about
right?
interception making this entire document garbage?
What?
Unarmed fighting just redeemed it.
Oh, okay. Basically, all the fighting styles are awesome. They add much needed diversity to the fighting style list, where it's not just armor or weapon choice. Now it's like you can go crazy. There's the Hulk. Someone you said in chat. Yes. There's the Hulk. Yep. Well, no, let's be real. It'd be like one class of fighter to get unarmed fighting, and the rest would be barbarian, and it'd be frenzied berserker. But yes.
Yeah.
Or bear totem.
Agree to disagree. I guess no, bear totem for the bear resistance to everything but psychic.
Yeah.
Kind of have to. Yeah, you right. All right, okay, next one shot is going to be the Marvel heroes.
All right. So I'm trying to think. We could get the core 4 of the Avengers plus Daredevil. That could work.
Core 4. Man, Hawkeye and Black Widow are weeping.
Hawkeye was one of the core 4. I don't know what you're thinking of for.
Well, did you just leave out Captain America?
Yeah, he's not one of the core 4. Why would he be a core 4?
wait, I'm thinking thrown weapon fighting for Cap.
Man. All right. He just needs a common magic item. Isn't there a common magic item where it just comes back to you?
I think returning is
a common,
it's either common or uncommon.
Yeah, returning.
But that's okay.
All right. We've reviewed the entire document. It took all 4 hours. I had other topics I wanted to talk about, but I also want to go to bed.
We did answer a question. Can't just say it was just on this document.
Yeah, our impromptu Q&A was one question, but hey, that was cool. Appreciate it. So, let's do some closing thoughts. I mean, we already talked about it ad nauseum, but let's just, at the tail end here, which class won UA class features, and which class lost UA class features? Start with Vegas, because I like putting him on the spot.
Oh, well, thanks. Who won? Probably Warlock. Who lost? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that's a tie. Either Wizard for just getting nothing. even though they technically got
more than Rogue,
twice the amount of features as Rogue did, but garbage features. Or Paladin for having everything. No, they didn't have everything stolen. They're just sharing a lot more than they want to.
It's theft.
Yeah, so I'll say Warlock won, Wizard lost.
Okay, Warlock won, Wizard lost. PR.
I'm gonna have to say Ranger won on this one. I really like.
That's interesting to hear you say, because you were kind of dogging on the changes.
Oh yeah, no, I dog the Deft Explorer change.
Yeah, that one was. Whew.
I'm not a fan of that.
If that one makes it to print, I'm gonna be mad.
Just because of, I mean, like, to me, I'm a big fan of the Natural Explorer, so getting rid of that, I'm just like, why? Their companion options, like the actual Beast Air, Beast Earth, from just what I'm looking at, not that great. I mean, they still don't scale. So when you are a
Armor class 12, like, oof.
Yeah. And sure, like the hit points equal Constitution modifier plus your Wisdom modifier plus 5 times your Ranger level. But I mean, it's still.
And they do have extra damage, knock prone, charge on Beast of the Earth.
Yeah. But Ranger, I think, came out because they actually got some love that actually made the class not hot trash, which is nice.
Fate and which one was it? Favorite foe. Oh boy. Yeah, that's definitely a win.
And it'll be nice to see some Rangers that aren't hunters.
Yeah.
Or a Gloomstalker, although I am super partial to Gloomstalker. For Lost, I mean, yeah, Wizard got railed.
They just got ignored.
But,
They're the redheaded stepchild of the classes for this book.
I'm honestly think, and this is going to be kind of out there, Bards.
Uh-oh, hot take.
Bards lost.
Really?
The only good thing going
Actually,
for them
they didn't get a whole lot.
is their expanded spell list, which a lot of those spells on that expanded spell list should have been Bard spells to begin with.
We're looking at you, Mass Healing Word.
Or command.
They didn't have command.
Nope.
All right, carry on.
And then they get the spell versatility, which
a lot of
it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice, but it's nothing. And the magical
Yeah.
inspiration is just a little jank. It just doesn't track. I hear you.
I think that's for like when you look at their spell list, you're like, oh wow, they're gonna get like tons of love, and then they get a bunch of spells, and it's like, oh, whatever. So, yeah, I'm gonna say Bard.
All right. Well, I don't think I'm gonna surprise anyone with my picks. I think winner based on which changes have made me want to play the class the most. Gotta be Warlock. Although, obviously Ranger with simply just with favored foe, close second. Because favored foe saves the class from so much pain. But it's gotta be Warlock just because from a player looking at it, I'm normally the DM, but as a player, that was the one that inspired me the most to like, man, I want to play a fucking Warlock. So they won for me. Loser, I gotta give it to my Paladins. Not because they got anything particularly bad, but just because of how done dirty they were. They got good shit. They got good spells. They got a cool channel divinity. But man, everything on their spell list that was theirs has just been distributed like a communist at a parade.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Paladin.
All right.
Yeah, no, they were done dirty.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for joining me. I know you guys probably would have rather read roleplayed. I would have too, especially since I was super hyped about where the campaign's going. But we can do that next week. There's always next week. Everyone who tuned in, appreciate it so much. We definitely broke the mold with this stream. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if anyone would watch. And we got a pretty decent reaction. We even had a question. Someone asked us a question who wasn't named New Guy. I know he's not here, so shitting on him doesn't have the same effect.
It's just fun to do, anyways.
Yeah. For those of you who are perhaps tuning into my channel for the first time, normally during this time we are actually role playing a great campaign called Dire Roll and Frost, but we were short a player, so we decided instead of canceling the stream outright, the three of us, these two are two of my awesome players. They make up half the cast. I'm the dungeon master. We decided to deep dive into this, and I think we had a lot of fun, and maybe some of y'all got to take some stuff away. Granted, I don't know how much you take stock in our opinions, but I think we broke it down pretty well. Pat ourselves on the back. Yeah, so if you would like to see some live play Dungeons & Dragons with some, might I say, exceptional role players, then tune in 6 p.m. Central Time next Sunday. And yeah, maybe we'll, instead of canceling, we might do some of these. We'll have different topics. I had a few topics that I didn't know how much we were going to talk about, and then we ended up talking about the UA for 4 hours. So we'll see you next week, and and we might do some more of these Dire Roundtables in the future, because I think this was a big success, and it's always good to stream than to not stream. So yeah. I think that's going to be it for everybody. Phisto, you want to plug your Monday show?
Not quite. I still am working
still
on
ironing it
kinks. Out. Yeah. As much as I was hoping to have OBS working today, but can't get that yet. So
right,
my life is great.
Well, I will say, and this is my non-bias observation. I did tune in to your stream as best I could, your first stream, and I liked what I was hearing. It sounded really interesting. So I would love for you to get it off the ground, because I am intrigued. You have a viewer in me.
Huzzah.
All right, so we will see you all next week. Have a good night, and thank you all for tuning in.
Deuces.